Chapter 50-52. Damn it, the other party's strength was too strong. He was terrified and fought back. After 3 moves, he completely lost his temper. Powerful and invincible. This was his evaluation of the other party. He knew that he was no match for him in a head-on battle. Now he could only escape. His entire body turned into mist and fled in all directions. He snorted coldly. Lin Wuti, although you are powerful, you don't understand us assassins at all. If we want to escape, you can't stop us. In the blink of an eye, he had already fled 1,000,000 miles away. Thunderbolt heaved a sigh of relief. Damn it, he was careless this time. It seemed that after returning, he had to make a good plan. Just as he was thinking, a black bolt of lightning flashed behind him. His speed was even faster. Lin Xian had black wings on his back, and he easily tore through the void. He was fearless in a straight line. In an instant he arrived behind Thunderbolt. Don't you think you are a little naive to try to match my speed? A faint voice sounded. Thunderbolt turned around, and was scared out of his wits. Damn it, how was this possible? This was the first time he had seen someone faster than him. Escape again. He accelerated again. But after 3 times, Lin Xian could easily catch up to him. In fact, the 3rd time he was directly in front of him. He stopped him. Then he threw a punch over, and the entire void was completely shattered. The phantoms of 6 worlds charged towards him, causing his blood to boil. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Damn it! Thunder shook the world. Thunderbolt roared. The thundercloud he turned into covered the sky and earth, directly swallowing everything. Let's see how you will die in my thunder domain. Thunderbolt's voice sounded in all directions. At this moment, the entire sky had completely turned into a thunderstorm. The violent aura was enough to crush everything. Lin Xian's body was covered in a golden light, and golden talismans flickered as he resisted. At the same time, he took out a flying knife, the soul cutter. Previously, he had just obtained it. Do you think I won't be able to find you if you hide? Go. Lin Xian activated the soul cutter. The soul cutter flew out, and turned into a ray of light. It directly charged into the depths of the thundercloud. Puff. Saber light flashed, and a scream was heard. Damn it, it's the soul-severing saber. How did you get your hands on something like that? He let out a terrified roar, his expression unwilling. He remembered that the soul-severing saber had been obtained by an extremely terrifying old man. Why was it in Lin Xian's hands? Could it be that that person had also fallen? He had no chance to find out. The power of the soul-slashing blade was unparalleled. Back then, the iron-handed skeleton had spent all of his wealth to buy it. Now it was truly powerful. With a single slash, he sliced apart Shadow Cleave Force's soul. Thunder Shadow had fallen. The thunderclouds that filled the sky also slowly disappeared. Lin Xian stood there and waved his hand, causing the soul-severing saber to fly out. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he narrowed his eyes. Forbidden artifacts could not be used for long periods of time. The soul-severing saber could probably be used 3 more times. It would be torn apart. However, he did not mind. With his strength, it was easy for him to kill the other party. Therefore, he did not rely on these at all. He left. Lin Xian's figure disappeared into the void. He left, but the entire underworld went crazy. When the sun rose the next day, countless people were shocked. They discovered that tens of thousands of assassins had been killed. That included the iron-handed skeleton, and even top experts like Thunder Shadow. Who did it? To be able to kill so many experts in such a short period of time was definitely not something that a single person could do. Was it the Assassin Temple? Countless exclamations and discussions sounded. It was no longer a secret that the 10 kings of hell had come to assassinate Lin Xian. However, they did not expect that these people would be completely annihilated in less than a day after they arrived. Had the Assassin Temple become so powerful? They did not know that this was the masterpiece of Lin Xian alone. If they knew, they would probably be scared out of their wits. What was going on? Even Thunder Shadow had perished? He had killed too many experts. It was said that he had built a white bone palace made entirely of the bones of saints. Not only that, he also had a wall formed by the heads of top-tier saints. Such a person was so powerful. Even if he could not kill Lin Wuti, It would not be a problem for him to leave calmly. But now, the other party had actually fallen. Was it Lin Wudi who did it? Some people shook their heads. It was not Lin Wudi who was strong. However, in the face of the elusive assassin, he was helpless. It must have been someone from the assassin temple who made the move. I guess it might even be the work of the Soul Saint or the Blood Evil Killing Saint. They were the only ones who could killing Thunderbolt without alerting anyone. After the 10 kings of hell received the news, they were also greatly shocked. The experts inside also made a similar analysis. In their opinion, it should be a sage-level existence who had made the move. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Lin Wudi to kill so many experts in such a short period of time. Damn the Assassin Temple. For a young man, they would not hesitate to go to war with the 10 kings of hell? Damn it. The 10 kings of hell gritted their teeth. They would not easily make a move again in a short period of time. They had to investigate carefully and make a detailed plan. Only then could they carry out the next attack. When the undead race found out, they were so angry that they vomited blood. Damn it, they had already taken out a legendary saint weapon as a reward. But the result did not seem to be what they wanted. That Lin Wudi was actually still alive, and was becoming more and more famous. Now not only did the geniuses of the underworld acknowledge him, but even the assassin saints were afraid of him. Damn it, this kid has the assassin temple behind him. It is difficult to touch him. They had to make him leave the sacred sand temple, or make the assassin temple stop supporting him. Under the undead spirit clan's relentless investigation, they finally found a clue. That was the original top genius of the assassin temple, Yin Tianfeng, who had accidentally fallen in the underworld. At that time, Lin Xian had also been there. There might be some connection between the two. Even if there was no connection, they would make up 10,000 connections. Quickly invite the experts of Granny Meng's lineage. The undead race paid a huge price to invite an elder of Granny Meng's lineage. They went to the first level of the underworld, and arrived at the place where Yin Tianfeng had fallen. Granny Meng's lineage had a powerful ability. It was Granny Meng's soup. It could forget some things and also restore the previous scene. At this moment, the elder that was invited was from Granny Meng's lineage. He was an extremely terrifying elder. He looked over and narrowed his eyes. I can help you restore the scene back then. But I am not sure how much I can restore. Before that, you have to give me what you promised me. Understood. The elder of the undead race gritted his teeth. The elder waved his hand and took out 2 treasure boxes and handed them over. Chapter 50-53. Elder Meng didn't care about the 10,000-year-old spiritual herb at all, and put it away. Instead, he looked at another stone. The simple stone was placed on the ground, and was not eye-catching at all. No one would pay attention to it. But at this moment, Elder Meng looked as if he had obtained a treasure. The Shura stone was a stone brought out from the Shura ruins. It contained a trace of the Shura race's power. Rumor had it that the Shura race might be related to time. Therefore, the Shura stone naturally had a mysterious power. If he could study it carefully, he might be able to improve his laws and cultivation. How could he not be excited? He put away the Shura stone. He nodded in satisfaction. All right, I'll help you guys reconstruct what happened more than 10 years ago. He waved his hand and took out 4 bowls of Mengpo's soup and placed them in 4 directions. Then he started forming seals with his palms. This was an ancient sacrifice. It was very complicated. The entire process lasted for 3 days. In the end, Elder Meng poured the 4 bowls of Mengpo's soup on the ground respectfully. As the Mengpo's soup fell, endless dreamlike fragments appeared in all directions. Then they quickly condensed. In the next moment, images appeared one after another. There were people in the images. The elders of the undead spirit race looked carefully. They realized that there were 2 figures in front of them. One of them was the dead Yin Tianfeng. The other was none other than Lin Xian. Great, Lin Wudi and Yin Tianfeng had indeed met. What happened next? They carefully examined the scene. It was very blurry. After all, this was back in the past. It contained a trace of the power of time. Although the Mengpo's lineage was powerful, it was impossible for them to completely recover. Therefore, there were only some fragments. But even so, they still managed to capture a little. in one of the fragments. It was the scene of Lin Xian attacking Yin Tianfeng. Seeing this scene, the Grand Elder of the undead spirit race looked up to the sky and laughed. Ha 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 ha, great, he was really too happy. With this evidence, it was enough to make the killing Holy Temple and Lin Xian fall out. At least, he would definitely take revenge for killing a core elder of the Holy Temple. Because Yin Tianfeng was the grandson of the core elder, Elder Yin. And this Elder Yin was vengeful and would definitely take revenge. At that time, Lin Xian might turn against the Assassin Temple, and they would have the opportunity to assassinate him. Thank you for your help this time. The Grand Elder of the undead spirit race looked at Elder Meng with gratitude. Then, they used an array formation to record these fragments and immediately returned. Next, they contacted to Elder Yin of the Holy Temple. At first, Elder Yin didn't believe it. However, Elder Yin's expression turned ugly when she saw the flickering fragments of the array formation. He gritted his teeth and said, "What if it was you who did it? Grand Elder of the undead spirit race." This matter was handled by the elders of Mengpo's lineage who had been invited to do it. You can ask him. You should know what Elder Meng is capable of. He could reconstruct the events of the past, even though it was just fragments. However, it was obvious that Yin Tianfeng's death had something to do with Lin Wuti. Damn it. Meng. As tears attention, his eyes were red, but he still said coldly, although Lin Wuti is my enemy, he is still a genius of the Holy Temple. His death is not good for the Holy Temple. You want me to do it? You want me to be a sinner of the Holy Temple? The Grand Elder laughed. Elder Yin, you are thinking too much. You don't need to do it. You just need to lure that guy out. We will do it then. Also, is that guy really willing to stay in the Holy Temple? Do you think he is willing to work for the Holy Temple? I don't think so. Looking at his cultivation and aura, he is not from the underworld. One day he would leave. Also, didn't the Yin family put their hopes on Yin Tianfeng? We the undead spirit race can understand your pain. Our top geniuses have all fallen, and they all fell at the hands of Lin Wuti. Only by killing him can we take revenge. Elder Yin nodded. Okay, I will work with you. The two sides reached an agreement. Next, they would work together to assassinate Lin Xian. Elder Yin went back to discuss with her family members. Many of them had cold expressions. They decided to take revenge. There were also some who frowned. He was now very powerful. If they attacked, the Holy Temple would not agree. Then they would think of a way to lure him out. At that time, the undead spirit race could take action. They were prepared to choose this safe method. Under Elder Yin's control, the Holy Temple sent out a mission to Lin Xian and the others. A total of 50 people set off together, including Lin Xian. When Lin Xian found out about this mission, his eyebrows knitted together tightly. This mission was very long. It could be as short as 30 years, or as long as 100 years. He did not have that much time. Therefore, he directly rejected and looked at the Soul Sage Lord. Soul Sage, I may have to go out, so I will not accept this mission. The Soul Sage Lord said. Okay, I will tell you. The Soul Sage Lord reported this news. When Elder Yin and the others heard this, they frowned and one of them sneered. It seemed that the undead spirit race was right. This kid did not want to work for the Holy Temple. In fact, I think he will leave this place in a short time. How about this? You contact the Vice Palace Master and say that you found Lin Wuti wanting to leave the Holy Temple. At the same time, we will send people to follow him secretly. As long as he leaves, we will have evidence. At that time, we can make a move on him. Elder Yin sent people to keep an eye on Lin Xian. Lin Xian was indeed planning to leave. And his actions were completely under the control of Elder Yin and the others. Immediately, those elders started to laugh coldly. Now that they had evidence, Elder Yin immediately led people to go. Experts that blotted out the sky and covered the earth surrounded Lin Xian. Elder Yin said coldly, Young Master Lin, where are you going? You are leaving without saying goodbye? Don't you know the rules of the Holy Temple? You have broken the rules. Men, take him down. 6 experts walked out. They held chains in their hands and shrouded the front. From the looks of it, they wanted to completely shroud Lin Xian. In an instant, these chains came to Lin Xian's side with an extremely powerful sealing power. Lin Xian's face darkened. He shouted coldly and burned the divine fire, shattering these chains. He stomped his foot, and a terrifying solar storm swept out in all directions. The 6 experts vomited blood and flew backward. Their faces turned pale. It was too terrifying. You dare to disobey our orders? Do you want to betray the holy temple? Elder Yin shouted angrily, but he was ecstatic. Great, the other party dared to make a move. Then he had a reason to kill him on the spot. Lin Xian's face was cold. Hearing the other party's name, he should be related to Yin Tianfeng. Chapter 50-54. Kid, how dare you resist? Do you want to die? Elder Yin and the others were shocked by the power that Lin Xian had displayed. However, they were overjoyed. This way, they would all have a chance to make a move. As expected, several elder-level figures attacked Lin Xian in a domineering manner. Lin Xian's face was cold. He knew that the other party must have obtained some evidence, which was why they attacked him. It seemed like he couldn't stay in the underworld any longer. Anyway, he was ready to leave. He couldn't just leave like this. His figure swayed and a pair of black wings appeared on his back as he flew into the distance. He disappeared in the blink of an eye. What fast speed! Elder Yin and the others were shocked and quickly chased after him. They also used Shadowless Heaven's Net to chase after him. Shadowless Heaven's Net. The Great Emperor's divine ability allowed him to appear and disappear unpredictably. When Elder Yin and the others used it, it was extremely powerful. However, it was a pity that they were flying in a straight line this time. No matter how strong they were, they couldn't catch up with Lin Xian's demon god wings. Damn it! Hurry up and inform the undead spirit race. Elder Yin and the others roared and sent out the news. When the undead spirit race's great elder heard the news, he rushed over with his men and cut off the path ahead. Only then did they stop Lin Xian. Kid, where are you running to? How dare you kill our family's #1 genius? Do you think you can escape? Cold shouts came one after another. They were emitting a murderous aura. In front of him was the undead spirit race and behind him was the assassin temple. It could be said that Lin Xian was in an extremely dangerous situation. Lin Xian stood in the void with an unusually cold expression. With so many people, not to mention him, even if it was anyone else, they wouldn't be able to leave. This was also the reason why the other party sneered. The news had also spread. When the people from the assassin temple heard about it, they were in an uproar. The Blood Fury Saint and the Soul Sage frowned. The assassin temple wanted to make a move on Lin Xian. Damn it, what's going on? They quickly went to find out that it was Elder Yin who did it. Is Elder Yin crazy? The Blood Fury Saint roared. The Soul Sage Monarch was also brimming with killing intent. He was even prepared to intervene. However, at this moment, a piece of news spread. Lin Xian killed Yin Tianfeng. Elder Yin's revenge was a personal grudge, and no one else was allowed to interfere. Furthermore, the news was spread by the Vice Palace Master. Damn it! Hanya and Shui Linglong gritted their teeth. Blood Fiend Saint sighed. His eyes flickered, but he didn't make another move. Father? Linglong Shui shouted. If we don't act now, young Master Lin will really be finished. Sigh. The Blood Kill Saint sighed. The Vice Palace Master has personally given the order, and it is not something that you and I can go against. Young Master Lin, he could only resign himself to fate. After saying that, the Blood Kill Saint went into seclusion. On the other side, when the Soul Sage Lord received the news, his face turned cold. Hanya asked, Father, what should we do? The Soul Sage Monarch thought for a moment, then said, I'll leave Soul to you. He took out a token, and at the same time, summoned the people of Soul. He said coldly, Brothers, if I'm not around, please take good care of ya. Father. Sage. Countless shouts rang out. Hanya stood out and said, I'm willing to fight with Father. The people of Soul also raised their arms and shouted, We'll follow the Sage Monarch to death. All of you. The Soul Sage Monarch took a deep breath. All right, follow me. He brought Hanya and flew into the distance. He was going to support Lin Xian. When he arrived, the aura between the two sides was even colder. The arrival of the Soul Sage Monarch caused countless people to turn their heads. The Soul Sage Monarch shouted coldly, Elder Yin, what do you want? Soul Sage Monarch, you're here too? But it's useless. This kid will definitely die today. If you watch from the side, we won't do anything to you. But if you dare to help this kid, I'll destroy your soul. A cold voice rang out. Lin Xian also turned his head. He said, Senior, there's no need to take the risk for me. The Soul Sage Monarch shook his head. I'm very disappointed in the Killer Temple. They don't even protect a genius like you. How disappointing. Young man, I have high hopes for you, so I'm prepared to help you. With that, he brought those people to Lin Xian's side. Since they don't know what's good for them, I'll fulfill their wish. The undead race roared. Their eyes had long turned red. Kill. With a roar, these people attacked fiercely. A great battle broke out instantly. Raging flames burned the sky, laws danced and thunder fell. In an instant, a terrifying power shook the surroundings. At this moment, countless people sensed it. They raised their heads and looked into the distant sky, sucking in a cold breath. Who's fighting? They only dared to watch such a terrifying scene from afar. They didn't dare to get close at all. This battle was terrifying. Although Lin Xian had the Soul Sage Monarch and the others on his side, the difference between Elder Yin and the undead race was too great. The difference was 10 times. It was even 20 times. Lin Xian appeared and disappeared like a ghost. With the Azura sword art, each sword could pierce through 100 saints. But it was still useless. These people seemed to have gone mad as they attacked nonstop. Lin Xian roared. He didn't hold back. The heaven-devouring jar appeared, and the great dragon sword soul swept in all directions. The battle was abnormally intense. The undead race actually took out a legendary holy weapon. A small cauldron shook heaven and earth. The great elder controlled the small cauldron to contend with it. Elder Yin launched a sneak attack and seriously injured the Soul Sage Monarch. The Soul Sage Monarch was also seriously injured. Lin Xian's eyes turned red. He attacked recklessly. The heaven-devouring jar was thrown to the ground by him, and crazily devoured the power of heaven and earth. The great dragon sword soul transformed into a true dragon and swept out. Under his reckless attack, the entire world exploded. Damn it, what is this thing? Why do I feel an extremely powerful aura? Run. The great elder went crazy, and Elder Yin was also terrified. They led the remaining people and fled. They knew that with this weapon, it would be difficult for them to kill the other party. The great elder roared. Go back quickly and ask at least 5 peak great sage cultivators to come. Although the other party was strong and had the protection of the extreme Tao, he didn't have much strength left. He could only protect himself now. If they sent 5 peak great sage cultivators, they would be enough to suppress the other party. At that time, everything the other party had would be theirs. In an instant, the great elder fled with dozens of people. Elder Yin's side was even worse. She only managed to escape with a dozen people with serious injuries. As for the rest, tens of millions of people died here, turning this place into a hell. A sea of blood surged into the sky. Hanya roared. Father! At this moment, the Soul Sage Monarch was seriously injured and on the verge of death. Lin Xian's face was pale, and countless cracks appeared on his body. He looked unusually ferocious. The others were all injured. This battle was a narrow escape. Lin Xian formed hand seals and used the longevity indestructible technique, forming a sword armor that enveloped everyone like a mountain. It provided a powerful vitality. Chapter 50-55. Han Xingjun's aura was very weak. He said, I'm afraid I can't make it. Young Master Lin, please help Ye in the future. Lin Xian shook his head. No, don't worry. You won't die. His eyes flashed. He took out a 10,000-year-old spirit herb from the Sword World's 4-Spirit Valley. With a wave of his hand, he appeared in the void. Swallow it. Your injuries should be much better. Han Xingjun took a look and shook his head. No need. Young Master Lin, you have to trouble yourself. I know my own injuries. You also walked over. He said, Young Master Lin, we've already given Han Xingjun a lot of heavenly treasures. They were all made of 10,000-year-old spirit herbs, or even 20 to 30,000-year-old spirit herbs. But it was useless. Her meaning was clear. The 10,000-year-old spiritual herb that Lin Xian had taken out would definitely not have any effect. However, Lin Xian smiled. How would you know if you don't try? Hunya, give it to your father. Hunya took it and said, Father, take it. It's young Master Lin's kind intentions. Hun Xingjun swallowed the 10,000-year-old spirit herb. However, he didn't have any hope. But when he swallowed it, he was stunned. What was going on? He was dumbfounded because he felt a powerful life force enveloping his body. Was this really a 10,000-year-old spirit herb? He looked at Lin Xian in disbelief. Lin Xian nodded. That's right. It was a 10,000-year-old spirit herb. Father, how are you feeling? Hunya, you, and the others also walked over and asked with concern. Hun Xingjun said, What a strong medicinal power. I can feel my injuries recovering quickly. Thank you, young Master Lin, for saving my life. Yu Tinghe was also stunned. What? A 10,000-year-old spirit herb cured Hun Xingjun? This was too unbelievable. How could he know that Lin Xian took out a 10,000-year-old spirit herb? It was a 10,000-year-old spirit herb that grew in the Sword World. The Sword World was formed by the power of many worlds. In addition, the world itself had no gods, so a 10,000-year-old spirit herb grew here. It was a 50,000-year-old spirit herb outside. In addition, the Soul Sage Monarch had swallowed many pills in the past. This set of 50,000-year-old spiritual medicines had directly improved his condition. However, if he wanted to fully recover, he would need to recuperate properly. Lin Xian smiled and said, Senior, you are too polite. It was you who brought people to save me from danger. I should be thanking you. Lin Xian was very grateful for the man's actions. There were many people who would add flowers to a brocade, but the real help was the one who offered help. Moon and the others were stunned. This young Master Lin before them had given them an unprecedented shock. Previously, when they were on a mission with Lin Xian, they had thought that Lin Xian was a coward who was afraid of running away. But now, it seemed that this was not the case at all. Lin Xian had displayed his formidable strength, and was able to take out such a miraculous elixir with a wave of his hand. The other party was like a cloud of fog, making it impossible for them to see clearly. This young man before them probably had more trump cards than their sacred army. The Soul Sage Lord's complexion recovered a little. He asked, What will you do next? It wouldn't take long for them to arrive. We have to leave quickly. Lin Xian nodded, and the group flew into the distance. But not long after, an extremely terrifying aura appeared between heaven and earth. The 5 Pinnacle Great Sage of the undead race had joined forces. They stood tall in the 9 heavens. At this moment, the people of the underworld were alarmed. Oh heavens, what happened? The undead race had sent out 5 Pinnacle Great Sage. It was said that they were trying to kill Lin Wudi. Countless shocked voices sounded. Elder Yin and the others were also secretly observing. They believed that the other party was definitely dead this time. Not good, the Soul Sage Lord was in despair. Moon Soul Cliff and the others were also pale and trembling. They couldn't withstand such a lineup, let alone 5 Pinnacle Great Sage. Even a Pinnacle Great Sage could defeat all of them. In this situation, there was no doubt that they would die. Was it time to fight? Lin Xian probed the power of the Sword World and took a deep breath. With his trump cards, whether it was the Heaven-Devouring Jar or the Great Dragon Sword Spirit, it was impossible to defeat the other party if he went all out. But if he wanted to escape, it shouldn't be a problem. In that case, let's fight. Lin Xian took a step forward, and an extremely sharp light burst out. Facing 5 Pinnacle Great Sage, he was still not afraid. Undead race, I will remember you. When I return in the future, I will definitely destroy the 4 Spirits race. You want to have a future? Ridiculous. The 5 Pinnacle Great Sage in the sky snorted. They looked down as if gods were looking at ants. Today none of you can leave. Once the 5 Pinnacle Great Sage attacked, they would definitely not let them live. Attack. The 5 Pinnacle Great Sage were like 5 gods. Their aura swept across the 9 heavens. At this moment, heaven and earth shattered. The Soul Sage army and the others couldn't resist at all. They could only retreat and vomit blood. Endless black vortexes appeared beside Lin Xian. He roared angrily, wanting to activate the power of this world, and take out his strongest trump card. However, at this moment, there was a big hand in the sky that shrouded down. It directly enveloped the 5 Pinnacle Great Sage. Who is it? The five-pinnacle great sage roared angrily. Their fists rose, an endless divine light pierced through the 9 heavens. He fought against the hand of the heavens. Loud noises sounded. Everyone retreated. Lin Xian also frowned. Was there a change? He didn't act rashly. Instead, he retreated to a distance to watch the battle. Who dares to interfere in our business? The undead race roared crazily. The battle just now made them shocked. At this moment, figures appeared in all directions. There were 10 figures standing in the 9 heavens. Each of their aura was not weaker than the 5-pinnacle great sage. Those who were watching the battle from afar exclaimed, "These were the 10 kings of hell." Oh heavens, they actually appeared as well. Were they also here to capture Lin Wudi? Countless exclamations sounded. One Lin Wudi was enough to make the entire hell go crazy. Whether it was the pinnacle great sage or the 10 kings of hell, they were all the top figures in hell. The members of the Dead Spirit clan furrowed their brows tightly. 10 kings of hell. What do you mean? Are you going to help this kid? King Qingguang said coldly. We are entrusted to protect young Master Lin's safety. That's right. King Songdi also nodded. The other 10 kings of hell stood out one after another, claiming that they would protect Lin Xian. This caused everyone in the underworld to be stunned. Oh God, what's going on? Even Lin Xian was stunned. What's going on? The 10 kings of hell had sent countless assassins to assassinate him. But now, the leaders of the 10 kings of hell wanted to protect him. They didn't even hesitate to become enemies with the undead race. Damn it, why? The undead race experts roared crazily. Chapter 50-56. Hun Xingjun and the others were stunned. Lin Xian was so influential that he could get the 10 kings of hell to come out together? They looked at each other, feeling incredulous. Lin Xian was also stunned. Suddenly his heart skipped a beat. Could it be old Xia? He came to the underworld with Xia Juyo. Later on, Xia Juyo left after he recovered some vitality. Now that such a scene had happened, Lin Xian thought about it. It was probably related to Xia Juyo, right? In front, the great sage of the undead spirit race gritted his teeth and asked, I want to know, who could make all of you come out together? Even if he died, he wanted to know why. King Qingguang said coldly. It was a senior, an existence that you can't afford to offend. The pupils of the undead spirit race's experts shrank. They knew that it was impossible to kill Lin Xian today. It seemed that they could only find another opportunity in the future. He snorted and waved his hand. Let's go. The 5 great sage turned and left. The experts of the undead spirit race retreated. Those who were watching the battle from afar were stunned. They didn't expect that a certain death situation would be resolved once again. The 10 kings of hell looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian cupped his fists and thanked the seniors for their help. King Qingguang smiled. Young man, you don't have to thank us. We were also entrusted by others. Goodbye. The figures of the 10 kings of hell slowly disappeared between heaven and earth. Young Master Lin, you have such an identity? Why didn't you say so earlier? Hunya and the others also heaved a sigh of relief. You, on the other hand, was complaining. Lin Xian smiled bitterly. To be honest, I didn't know that such a situation would happen. All right. Seeing the puzzled look in their eyes, Lin Xian waved his hand and took them away. When they arrived at a safe place, he asked, Next, I'm going to leave the underworld. The world is vast and I'm not afraid of the undead spirit race. Moreover, I'm not from the underworld. At this point, he looked at Hun Xingjun and the others. But what about you? You're from the underworld. The undead spirit race will definitely not let you go. Moreover, the Killing Sage Hall will probably make a move on you too. The Soul Sage Lord took in a deep breath and looked at the surrounding killer saints. He said that he had implicated them. Sage, please don't say it like that. You've always taken care of us like this. At the crucial moment, we naturally have to follow the sage. You also said, Sage, what do you think we should do? We follow the sage. Soul Sage Lord stood up, looked at the starry sky, and sighed. Although the underworld was terrifying, it was still just a galaxy in the universe. Aside from the underworld, I also want to experience the vastness of the universe. After that, he looked at Lin Xian and said, I'm willing to follow young master to the ancient primeval city. Lin Xian was equally shocked. Even though the Soul Sage and the others weren't at the pinnacle of the Great Sage, they weren't weak either. Moreover, these people were all assassins and had all kinds of assassination methods. If he could use it, it would be an extremely terrifying force. His divine union needed this kind of power. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous as he said solemnly, "If Senior wishes to follow me, I will not let you down. Good, from today onwards, we will respect young master," the Soul Sage Lord said in a deep voice. You and the others gasped. Was Lin Wudi the Lord of Martial Arts? They didn't dare to believe it. Even though Lin Wudi was strong now, he still couldn't beat a sage. However, the Soul Sage Lord had his own thoughts. He was indeed stronger than Lin Xian now, but so what? He was a sage, while Lin Xian was only a sage ruler. How many realms were there between the two of them? If Lin Xian became a great sage, he would probably be stronger than the Soul Sage Lord. Therefore, following a young great emperor like Lin Xian wouldn't be at a disadvantage. On the contrary, he would have unparalleled glory in the future. All right, there's no time to lose. Let's go. Lin Xian took out the black earth. With a wave of his hand, he led everyone onto the spirit ship. Then he slowly left. The news about the 5 pinnacle great sage, Lin Wudi, and the 10 kings of hell spread like wildfire. In an instant, the news spread throughout the entire infernal realm. Countless people were shocked. They didn't expect that the 5 pinnacle great sage couldn't do anything to Lin Wudi. In the end, the 10 kings of hell had to give him face. It was unbelievable. At the same time, a legend began to spread in the underworld. It was about the younger generation. Previously, the number 1 of the younger generation had been changing places. It was either the Dead Souls Abyss or 2 other people. But now it was no longer these people. Instead, it was replaced by a new name. It was Lin Wudi. Lin Xian's previous battle results had directly pushed him to the top. Countless people looked at the list in shock. Lin Wudi? This was the existence they would look up to in their lives. Even the 2nd and 3rd place felt inferior. At the same time, another piece of news came. It was about the most dangerous people in the underworld that they could not afford to offend. Other than those terrifying and famous sect masters and patriarchs, another young name appeared on the list. It was Lin Wudi. Provoking him was equivalent to offending the 10 kings of hell. Who dared to provoke such an existence? When the Dead Souls race heard the news, they were shocked. There was even a trace of despair in their eyes. It would be harder for them to take revenge in the future. A pinnacle great sage gritted his teeth and said, Yuan'er had a fiancée when he was alive. Go and pass the news to her. The people from Assassin Divine Palace were equally shocked. Especially the deputy palace master, his face was gloomy. At this moment he hated Elder Yin to the core. The things that Elder Yin had told him previously made him feel that Lin Xian was dispensable. He could even kill him easily. But now the strength and value that Lin Xian had displayed were too great. But they had become enemies with him. In fact, the Soul Sage Monarch, as well as all of the Soul Slayers, had vanished without a trace. This was a huge loss to the Assassin Divine Palace. But they couldn't be angry. They could only sulk. Elder Yin and the rest felt their scalps go numb. They didn't dare to go back in the short term. They could only wait outside. The deputy palace master's anger had subsided. When the Blood Fury Saint heard about this, he was also stunned. Lin Xian had such an identity and background? Linglong Shui looked at her father and sighed. From the looks of it, his father seemed to have missed out on a great opportunity. An opportunity to follow the young great emperor was missed just like that. News and legends about Lin Wudi spread throughout the underworld. Until many years later, Lin Xian was still a legend. Holy Abyss Ancient City. The 3 great orthodoxies would have new geniuses enter every year. The new generation would replace the old. Now in the past 10 years there were some top geniuses who rose. Their cultivation wasn't strong, but their strength was terrifying. Some had super powerful bloodlines. Some had great opportunities and obtained heaven-defying weapons. There were also people who could use terrifying lost techniques. In short, these people stood out and overshadowed some of the older geniuses. The Dao Sect's situation had also changed greatly. The Dragon Palace, which had been silent back then, shone brightly once again. Chapter 50-57. Previously, the Dragon Palace had been suppressed by Lin Xian and the Divine Union, especially during the Grand Meet. They were so suppressed that they could not even lift their heads. Later on, the Dragon Prince was poisoned by the Great Tao, and the situation was very dangerous. The Dragon Palace had been in despair for a time, and their morale was at its lowest. However, the situation had changed. The Dragon Prince had obtained the sacred tree of life, and his injuries had healed. His cultivation had even improved by a level. Now he was almost at the top of the Holy Gulf Tower. It was said that the people in the nest of 10,000 dragons were preparing to crown the Dragon Prince as a king. Once they succeeded, the Dragon Prince would be the second top genius to be crowned as a king. At that time, the other party would not be weaker than Kuanpingzi, and the Battle of the Emperor Road might even be brought forward. The Dragon Prince's strength made the Dragon Palace dazzle again. Over the past decade, the geniuses had joined the Dragon Palace, wanting to follow the Dragon Prince. Today was another day for the three great orthodoxies to recruit geniuses. The entire wholly distant ancient city was bustling, and countless young geniuses had entered. The three great orthodoxies had also sent people to recruit them. On the Heaven Sect's side, a beautiful woman in white stood there, attracting countless gazes. "Young master, I see that you are outstanding, and your expression is extraordinary. Why don't you join the Heaven Sect's test?" The woman in white looked over and saw a figure in the crowd. She immediately walked over, revealing a smile. The surrounding people were stunned, and for a moment, many people said with red faces, "I'm willing to join the Heaven Sect's test." "Very good." The woman in white smiled, and then stared at the figure in front of her. "What about you?" The man in front of her looked young and handsome. He was dressed in a black robe, and there was no terrifying aura around him. However, his eyes were firm. Based on the woman in white's experience, he was definitely an expert. Lin Xian looked ahead, narrowed his eyes and sighed. Oh, it was time for the three great orthodoxies to recruit geniuses again? It really made people sigh. He had been away for more than 10 years, and he wondered how those people were doing. "Hey, our senior sister is talking to you." The people from the Heaven Sect were unhappy. Lin Xian was surprised. He looked at these people and said, "You don't know me?" A young man said, "Who are you? Are you famous? Why should we know you?" Even the white-clothed woman was good. Lin Xian sighed. From the looks of it, these people must have joined after he left for more than 10 years. He had probably only heard of Lin Wudi and Mad God, but had never seen him in person. That was probably why she didn't recognize him. Thinking of this, he said, "Thank you for your kind intentions, but I want to return to the Tao sect." Tao sect. Hearing this, the smile on the woman's face disappeared. Those from the Sky sect also frowned and walked away. Said someone coldly. "Humph, another naive guy. Did he really think that the Dragon Prince could be crowned king? This guy definitely wanted to follow the Dragon Prince, but it was too late. So what if the Dragon Prince was crowned king? Our Kuanpingzi successfully did it more than 10 years ago. Now his strength was even more unfathomable, far beyond what the Dragon Prince could fathom. These people were very angry. Because of the Dragon Prince, all the geniuses who had participated in the test in recent years had gone to the True Path sect. The number of geniuses they recruited was much smaller than before. That was why they had come out this time to rope in those young geniuses. But by the looks of it, the results didn't seem to be good. Lin Xian also heard these people's discussion and narrowed his eyes. He followed the Dragon Prince? What a joke. But he didn't say much. Just wait and see. There would definitely be a battle between him and the Dragon Prince. After leaving this place, Lin Xian walked towards the Tao sect. The Tao sect was indeed filled with people. Countless geniuses were waiting there. Everyone's eyes were filled with excitement. When Lin Xian arrived, some people said, "Brother, line up behind. You're late. You have to stand behind." Voices rang out one after another. Some people even said, "Brother, how should I address you? Hey, what are you talking to this guy about? Is this guy famous? His aura doesn't seem that strong." Some people looked at him in disdain. Lin Xian, on the other hand, walked straight ahead. Under the angry gazes of countless people, he came to the front and continued to walk. "Hold it. There were guards in front of him blocking his path. Those behind him sneered. Is this guy stupid? Who does he think he is? Does he want to go in directly? Yes, the test hasn't started yet. He will definitely be beaten back. These people looked like they were watching a show. Lin Xian was speechless. Why didn't he come back for so many years? Even these people don't recognize him anymore? He waved his hand and took out a token. I'm from the Dao sect. Everyone was stunned, and the smiles on the faces of those who had been sneering disappeared as well. The two guards in front quickly bowed. Greetings, senior brother. Please forgive us, senior brother. We just joined the Dao sect recently. They recognized that Lin Xian's token was the one from more than 10 years ago. This was obviously their senior brother. Lin Xian nodded. No worries. Then he walked in. The people behind him gasped. Damn, this guy is from the Dao sect. This is our future senior brother. I was almost fooled by him. Luckily, I didn't offend him. Otherwise, I would be dead. These people were scared. They didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a terrifying identity, even though he didn't have any aura. The eyes of the young girls turned red. He's so handsome. Aya, why didn't I talk to him just now? Maybe he can take me in. I heard that the Dragon Palace is going to hold a martial arts grand meeting. I wonder if the test will end early after we enter. I don't want to miss such a grand meeting. Some people felt it was a pity. When they wanted to find Lin Xian again, they found that Lin Xian had already entered the Dao sect. After entering, Lin Xian found that it was also lively inside. After asking around, he found out that the Dragon Palace was going to hold a martial arts grand meeting. They were going to invite all the geniuses in the ancient city to discuss martial arts. It seems like they want to crown the Dragon Prince and build momentum in advance. They can't wait any longer. Looks like I have to speed up. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He found a secluded place. He formed a seal with his palms. Demon Shadow. He used a great magic to form an avatar. The avatar was dressed in a black robe and was surrounded by black gas. Lin Xian gave the token to the other party. His real body turned into a flash of light and disappeared. He was going to the Sacred Abyss Tower. With his current strength, it wouldn't be difficult for him to reach the peak of the Sacred Abyss Tower. Coronation? He wanted to let everyone know that the Emperor could do it. He could do it too. He could even do it better. Lin Xian's avatar walked toward the Dragon Palace. Chapter 50-58. The Dragon Palace was unusually lively. Countless geniuses had already arrived. Some of them were outstanding, while others had terrifying auras. Some gathered together to chat. Some even exploded with terrifying killing intent the moment they saw each other. Obviously, they had been enemies before. However, they didn't attack directly. After all, they had come to the Dragon Palace this time. They had to respect the dragons. Therefore, both sides snorted and retreated to the side. Among the many geniuses, there were a few who were extremely dazzling. One of them strode over. His gait was majestic, and his eyes shone with terrifying light. Countless people looked over. This person was none other than Long Ao. As the second genius of the Dragon Palace, his strength and talent were terrifying. He was second only to the Dragon Prince. At this moment, Long Ao exuded the aura of a dragon god. Beside him was a beautiful woman, Lan Ziyu. Her aura had also undergone an earth-shattering change. Because she had followed Long Ao, she was qualified to enter the core area and receive guidance from the True Path sect elders. Therefore, she was now considered a top expert of the Dragon Palace. The Blue Clan had also arrived. They looked at Lan Ziyu and nodded in satisfaction. Because of Lan Ziyu, they were now in an alliance with the Dragon Palace. Even their status had changed. This was all because of Lan Ziyu. They had already appointed Lan Ziyu as the young clan leader of the Blue Clan. He would take over the Blue Clan in the future. This time, it wasn't just the True Path sect and the other ancient clans. There were also people from the Sky sect and the Earth sect. On the Sky sect's side, 5 people walked over. They were 5 brothers, and their auras were terrifying. Each of them carried a long sword on their back. The biting cold sword intent made everyone's scalp tingle. Swordsmen from the Sky sect? These 5 were extremely famous top swordsmen. Each of them had strong individual combat strength. When the 5 of them worked together, they could form a terrifying killing sword formation. Challenging those of a higher level was a piece of cake. The Earth Sex people were also here. For example, the Overlord and the others were here. It could be said that this gathering was a gathering of people. Lord Wudao of the Yi clan had arrived. A voice came from outside. Countless people turned to look. Was Yi Wudao here? He was also a top genius. His status was no weaker than Long Ao's. Therefore, countless people were paying special attention. Long Ao also personally went out to welcome him. Leaf Daodinier's aura was even more terrifying than before, making him seem like a young Grand Emperor. His every move made the others feel fearful. Even Long Ao squinted his eyes. This guy definitely cultivated the great emperor's ancient scripture. He wondered what level he had reached in his cultivation. Thinking of this, he felt a burst of envy. Because the dragons had the Dragon Prince, no matter how talented he was, it was impossible for him to cultivate the complete ancient scripture. He could only cultivate 1 or 2 of the great emperor's divine abilities. But Leaf Daodinier was different. The Leaf clan had no imperial son, and as a top genius, he was qualified to cultivate the ancient scripture of the earth. This kind of treatment indeed made Long Ao's eyes red with envy. Young Master Yi, a rare guest. Long Ao laughed. Leaf Daodinier nodded and walked in. Of course, he hadn't come alone, but rather, had brought a few people with him. When he saw these people, Long Ao's face became a little gloomy. This was because the people following Yi Wudao were from the Divine Union. Crimson Divine Dragon towed by Su Su Fu Hongya. These people had followed Lin Xian back to the Bronze Immortal Hall. Later, Lin Xian had stayed in the underworld for a long time, and these people had discussed returning together. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a handsome guy before? Toad snorted coldly. The others were also in an uproar. The people of the Divine Union actually dared to come out. I think they are here to die. Someone sneered. Long Ao was instantly furious. He stared at these people and said coldly, "Men, take them down." The surrounding experts of the Dragon Palace stood up one after another, and a terrifying aura swept across the 9 heavens. The Crimson Divine Dragon roared. This dragon had never been afraid of anyone. He also roared, and dragon blood appeared. Yi Wudao said with his hands behind his back, "Why? Is this how the Dragon Palace treats its guests? This is the martial arts conference. You invited all the geniuses in the world, right? Why can't they come? The tolerance of the Dragon Palace is too small." When these words came out, countless people were in an uproar. Yi Wudao was indeed on the side of the Divine Union. Long Ao's face was also cold. "Young Master Yi, this is the Dragon Palace, not the territory of the Yi family." Yi Wudao's eyes shone brightly. "Are you warning me? Then let's see if you are qualified to warn me." Yi Wudao took a step forward, and the power in his body exploded. At this moment, everyone felt like their bodies were about to split open. Long Ao's face also changed. Yi Wudao had not shown any aura before, but once he used this power, it made his scalp go numb. However, he was also a top expert with the ancient body. How could he be afraid of Yi Wudao? Moreover, his cultivation had improved over the years, and he had even cultivated the mystique of the great emperor. Naturally, he was not afraid of Yi Wudao. Then let me experience young Master Ye's ultimate skill. Long Ao exuded a terrifying killing intent. The others were also shocked. Was the battle going to be brought forward? Stop. Long Ao, let them in. In the distance, an old man walked out. It was an elder of the Thousand Dragon Court. Chapter 50-59. At this moment, someone sighed. It seemed that the Dragon Prince would rule the world in the future. As soon as that was said, many people nodded. He was right. Of course, there were also people who rebutted him, saying that it was too early. The Dragon Prince was powerful, but was Kunpingzi weak? He had been crowned king earlier than the Dragon Prince. Countless people nodded. It seemed that the 2 princes would have a competition in the future. Lin Xian naturally came too. He sat down in the crowd. At this moment, he was also surprised. No wonder the dragons had been arrogant recently. He wondered what realm the Dragon Prince had reached. Had he broken through to become a great sage? He was now a saint king, so were Yi Wudao and the others. Even Kuenpingzi and the Dragon Prince were only at the peak of the Saint King realm. They had not become a great sage. Once he became a great sage, his strength would undergo an earth-shaking change. Whoever broke through first would be able to surpass others in advance. However, the Dragon Prince and Kuenpingzi's bloodline was too strong. The stronger the bloodline, the harder it was to break through. So, they had not broken through yet. As for Yi Wudao and Long Ao, they also had the ancient desolate body. Lin Xian had the 9 young divine body and the dragon sword soul. It was not easy for him to break through. However, although they were all saint kings, their strength was stronger than the average great sage. They were geniuses who could fight above their level effortlessly. At this moment, a swordsman in the sky said. Everyone was talking about the Dragon Prince, but where was he? Why didn't he come out? Could it be that he looked down on people like us? That's right, the people of the Dragon Clan are a little too rude. They wanted to cheer for the Dragon Prince, but the Dragon Prince himself did not come out? A few cold snorts were heard, shocking the surrounding people. They looked carefully and found that the people who spoke were from the Heavenly Sect. Obviously, the Heavenly Sect wanted to suppress the Dragon Palace. Long Ao and the others frowned. Even the elders of the Dragon Palace stopped smiling. However, at this moment, he looked up at the sky and sneered. Everyone, the Dragon Prince you want to see is here. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people looked up at the sky. The sky was extremely calm. But in the next moment, a storm was brewing. Countless dragon shadows flew over from afar, spanning tens of thousands of miles. On top of those dragon shadows, there was a figure standing tall and straight, incomparably terrifying. He was like a dragon god, descending upon the 9 heavens. At this moment, everyone could feel the suppression of their bloodlines, causing their blood to freeze. His soul was about to split open. It was the Dragon Prince. He really came. Oh my God, the bloodline of the monarch, the aura of the supreme Tao. The Dragon Prince's cultivation of the monarch's ancient scripture has improved again. He was probably not far from breaking through and becoming the great sage. Cries of surprise were heard one after another. People like the tyrant and the Heaven Sect swordsman clenched their fists. Leaf Daudinier took a deep breath. Obviously, he was feeling a lot of pressure. Long Ao's expression was also solemn. He originally thought that his years of cultivation would be able to reduce the gap between them. But now, it seemed that the gap between them had widened again. Was the Dragon Prince someone he had to look up to all his life? His heart was filled with despair. At this time, a swordsman from the Sky Sect walked out and said, as expected of the legendary monarch, the Dragon Prince, I want to experience the monarch's ultimate technique. As he spoke, he swung his sword. With a clang, the long sword cut through the void like lightning. This sword was like a peerless divine sword that slashed into the 9 heavens. The surrounding people were shocked. Was he going to attack the Dragon Prince? It was too unbelievable. The people from the Thousand Dragons dynasty sneered. Facing this peerless sword, the Dragon Prince lowered his head and looked. His eyes burst out with a bright light, and his gaze turned into a sharp blade light that swept over. With a clang, the sword was split in half. Not only that, the sword saint who attacked also vomited blood and was sent flying. The armor on his body was shattered and blood burst out, dyeing the 9 heavens red. Everyone looked at this scene with their mouths agape. He was too strong. The swordsman who attacked was a top powerhouse among the younger generation of the Sky Sect. His strength was unparalleled, and there were not many people present who could contend against him. But now, they couldn't even block a single gaze from the Dragon Prince. Was this the difference between them and the monarch? Thinking of this, they all felt despair. It was really sad to be in the same era as such a person. The Dragon Prince looked down and asked calmly, "Are you qualified to fight me?" Damn it! The injured swordsman's face turned pale. Was he being ignored? This was a feeling that he had never felt before. But that gaze just now was too terrifying, and it easily pierced through his body. Even if he attacked with his full strength, he wouldn't be a match for him. The other 4 walked over and asked, "Are you okay?" The 5 of them formed a sword formation together, but they probably couldn't fight against him. He was too strong and invincible. That was what everyone was thinking. The people from the Dragon Palace walked out and said, "Don't even think about fighting against our prince. The Dragon Prince is famous. His opponents are only the other monarchs. For example, Kunpingzi, the others were no match for him. Not to mention the Dragon Prince, you can't even defeat our Dragon Prince. Our Dragon Prince has the ancient desolate body, and his strength is unparalleled. He can defeat all of you when he attacks." The Dragon Prince they were talking about was naturally Long Ao. Indeed, not to mention the Dragon Prince, even Long Ao, there were not many people who could contend against him. That was the ancient desolate body, a body that was as famous as Yi Wu Dao and the others. It seemed that the rise of the Dragon Palace was unstoppable, and the dragons would rule the world in the future. Voices rang out. It seemed that they had to make friends with the dragons in advance to plan for the future. The people from the Dragon Palace laughed proudly. This feeling was really good. The Dragon Prince was Long Ao, and he seemed to have been trampled under the feet of others. "What are you proud of?" A cold laugh rang out, and it spread clearly in all directions. The surrounding people were stunned, and they all gasped. "Who is it? How dare he say such words?" The people from the Dragon Palace roared, "Who is it? Get out here. How dare you challenge our Dragon Palace? Do you want to die?" The voice rang out again. "What, am I wrong? Has he never been defeated before? I remember that he was defeated by others in the Dao Sect's sacred assembly. At that time, countless pairs of eyes saw it. Are you trying to hide the truth? Ridiculous. Nonsense, come out." The people from the Dragon Palace began to search frantically. At this moment, the dark red dragon snorted coldly. "You are the ones who are ridiculous." He was indeed defeated by Lin Xian. "That's right. I remember that his clone was killed by Lin Xian as soon as he appeared. Later, his real body appeared, but he was slapped to the ground by Lin Xian." Chapter 50-60. "Damnant, what did you say?" The people from Dragon Palace roared. Long Ao's face darkened. He had indeed been defeated by Lin Xian. However, no one dared to mention this matter. Now, someone had actually brought it up again, especially when so many geniuses were gathered together. This was a slap to his face. He stood up and said coldly, "Two ants, come over. I'll slap you to death." "Ha!" Toad sneered. "How impressive. Why don't you slap Lin Xian instead? You'll probably be slapped to death by Lin Xian." Bai Susu snorted. "You were defeated by Lin Xian. Shouldn't you challenge him? What's the point of challenging us?" The others were also discussing animatedly. Yes, when discussing the geniuses of the world, besides the Dragon Prince, Kunpingzi, Yi Wu Dao, and Long Ao, they seemed to have forgotten about one person. It was Lin Xian. The other party was known as Invincible Lin. His strength and means were beyond their imagination. Long Ao had been defeated by him in the past. He should be a super expert below the emperor's level. Lin Xian. Hearing this name, Long Ao gritted his teeth. The people from Dragon Palace were also filled with killing intent. It was this person who had suppressed their Dragon Palace in the past. Lan Ziyu stood up and said coldly, "What Lin Xian? He had already passed away. There had been no news of him for more than 10 years. He had already fallen outside." The elder of the Blue Tribe nodded in agreement. "That's right. A dead genius was nothing. Even if he was once dazzling, he had no future." The people from Dragon Palace sneered. "Where is this Lin Xian you're talking about? Does he dare to come out? If he does, I'll slap him to death." "That's right." Long Ao snorted. "Lin Xian, that coward, hasn't dared to come out for more than 10 years. He must know that I've become stronger, so he doesn't dare to come out. It was an accident that I lost to him in the past. I wasn't in the right state at that time. Otherwise, how could I have lost? Now that I'm at my peak, if he dares to come out, I'll destroy him in 3 moves." Long Ao displayed his strong confidence. The members of the Divine Union gritted their teeth. Even the dark red Divine Dragon sighed. After so many years, they really didn't have any news about Lin Xian. They were even worried that something might have happened to Lin Xian. However, before he left, the dark red Divine Dragon had specifically asked for a soul aura from Lin Xian, and made it into a soul card. At this moment, there was nothing wrong with the soul plate, which let them know that Lin Xian's life was not in danger. It was just that he was delayed by something outside. But the others didn't think so. They guessed that Lin Xian might have fallen. What a pity. Brother Lin and I are about the same level of cultivation base, so if you want to fight, I'm more than happy to oblige. You're right. If you can beat me, that means you can beat him. Do you dare? As soon as these words were spoken, the surrounding people were shocked. Was Leaf Dao Dinier going to stand up for Lin Xian? It was too unbelievable. Long Ao's face also darkened. Do you want to die? I'll fulfill your wish. He had to fight today to show his powerful strength. Otherwise, these people would really think that he was a pushover. Long Hao took a step forward. The aura of the dragon roared and the whole world shook. The people of the Dragon Palace were very confident. Long Ao had failed before. But so what? He was now a different person from more than a decade ago. Now he had no opponents under the Crown Prince. Even if the opponent was Leaf Dao Dinier, they were still not afraid. Today was a grand event that the Dragon Palace had specially arranged to build momentum for the Dragon Prince. Now that someone had challenged them, they had to be ruthlessly suppressed. They had to let them know who was in charge in this place. Everyone was excited. Could they see a fierce battle in advance? That was great. Leaf Dao Dinier also stood up and was ready to fight. However, at this moment a voice sounded. Did he need the sacred body of the ancients to deal with such trash? I can do it. As he said that, a figure walked over. The surrounding people went crazy. God, who was this? How dare he say that Long Ao was trash? Long Ao was a top genius. If he was trash, then what were the others? Weren't they worse than trash? What an arrogant tone. Countless people turned their heads to look, wanting to see who was so arrogant. Even Leaf Dao Dinier was stunned. He also turned his head to look. The dark red dragon, the toad, and the others also turned their heads. In the next moment, they saw a man in a black robe, surrounded by demonic qi, walking over. Was it him? The dark red dragon and the others frowned. They thought that Lin Xian had returned. The others were also confused. Who was this person? Was he a top genius of the ancient city? Was he an expert of the 3 major orthodoxies? It didn't seem like it. Who are you, kid? How dare you challenge me? Tell me your identity and origin. I'll see if you have the right to be arrogant here. Why waste time talking to him? Just kill him. A powerhouse of the Dragon Palace made his move. With a dagger in his hand, he instantly appeared behind Lin Xian. With a swing of the dagger, the void was split in half. The surrounding people exclaimed, "What a fast speed, what a killing method." They saw the black-robed man's figure being split in half. The Dragon Palace expert sneered. "What expert? You can't even block one of my attacks." As soon as he finished speaking, he was stunned. He found that the split figure was slowly disappearing. Lin Xian appeared on the other side. "You can't even keep up with my speed, and you dare to assassinate me? Is the Dragon Palace full of trash? What? Was that just an afterimage?" Countless people were in an uproar. When did this guy dodge? They were really shocked. Some people's pupils shrank, while others exclaimed, "This was an expert." The Dragon Palace expert's face was cold. "Damn it, die." He was about to swing his dagger again, but Lin Xian sneered. "I was just telling the truth. Does the Dragon Palace want to kill me? Then, if I were to defeat Long Ao, wouldn't all of your elders cover the sky and cover the earth to hunt me down? It seems that this battle is not necessary. Stop." Long Ao roared. The Dragon Palace expert stopped. He gritted his teeth and returned unwillingly. Long Ao said coldly, "My Dragon Palace is upright. Since when would we do such a despicable thing? Just attack. The dragon's elders will definitely not attack. I don't believe in a despicable person like you." Lin Xian looked at the Thousand Dragon Dynasty's elder. That elder's face was cold. Why would we care about the sparring between the younger generation? There are so many geniuses here. Are you going to question my Dragon Palace? Lin Xian smiled. Since the dragon's elder has spoken, I will naturally believe him. He looked forward and said, "Long Ao, you are too pitiful. Kneel down and kowtow to me now, and I will spare you this time." Chapter 5061. These words made everyone stunned. Could it be that this guy thought that Long Ao would lose? Although his speed was fast, a battle was not just about speed. And no matter how fast he was, could he be faster than Long Ao? He did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. Cold laughter rang out. The surrounding people kept shaking their heads. Long Ao laughed. Ao also laughed. You don't have the right to ask me to admit defeat. Kid, do you think you can compete with me if you're fast? Too naive. Are you naive? You'll know soon enough. Lin Xian stretched out a finger and shook it. Come on, don't waste my time. Stupid thing. Long Ao instantly appeared behind Lin Xian. My speed is also very fast. I'm practicing dragon steps. Can you block it? Long Ao slapped down, smashing the black robe into pieces. It's over. The corner of his mouth raised into a smile. The surrounding people also exclaimed. As expected of the strongest person under the emperor, he actually ended the battle with a slap. You're really ignorant. I've said it before. Is the Dragon Palace all trash like this? Everyone is so arrogant. You can't keep up with my speed. Lin Xian's voice rang out from the side. The others were stunned. They turned their heads and shouted in fear. He didn't die. He dodged again. Damn it. What kind of movement technique is that? Why didn't I notice it at all? How is this possible? The people of the Dragon Palace also looked as if they had seen a ghost. Even Long Ao also frowned, and his expression became stiff. Previously, he said that he would kill the other party in one move. Now the other party was still alive and he did not notice it at all. This was already a ruthless slap to his face. How embarrassing. Long Ao was so angry that his entire body trembled. Lin Xian walked over and said indifferently, "Follow my speed. You can cultivate for another 100 years. Before his voice fell, Lin Xian had already arrived at Long Ao's side and slammed his palm over. How is that possible? Long Ao said fiercely. The other party's speed was too fast. It was so fast that he could not even react. Boom. Long Ao Yang Tian roared in anger. His fists danced, shattering the void, forming an endless black hole, blocking the attack. The next moment he roared at the sky like a dragon god. Kid, you've completely angered me. The others also cried out in surprise, displaying their true strength. Dragon Dao Divine Fist. The black-robed man was unlucky. Yes, so what if he was fast? In the face of absolute power, everything was futile. Go to hell. Long Ao punched out, destroying heaven and earth. At this moment, the space around Lin Xian was completely shattered. The invisible force was like a cage, preventing all escape. Not good. The dark red divine dragon and the others were worried. They were now very sure that the black-robed man was Lin Xian. However, in these 10 years, Long Ao was indeed not the same as before. Could Lin Xian stop him? Boom. An even more terrifying power surged out, transforming into a black sun that advanced courageously. It directly collided with the dragon fist. The sound of heaven and earth shattering rang out. Long Ao was shaken to the point that he kept retreating. His arm was numb. What's going on? Was he pushed back? The others looked at this scene with their mouths agape. They couldn't believe it. The people from Dragon Palace also exclaimed. This was impossible. They felt like they were dreaming. The cracks in the sky disappeared. They saw the black-robed man in front of them slowly retracting his palm. Just now, it was the other party who pushed back Long Ao with one palm. Damn it, this guy is not only fast, but his strength is also so terrifying? How is this possible? What pill did you eat? How can your strength be so strong? Long Ao roared crazily. Lin Xian laughed loudly. Ignorant ant, you don't know what power is. Forget it, you're too weak. You're not qualified to be my opponent. Is there anyone stronger in Dragon Palace? Lin Xian looked around. At this moment, everyone was shocked. They knew that the person in front of them was an expert. Previously, they were disdainful of the other party's arrogance. But now, they knew that the other party had the capital to be arrogant. The dark red divine dragon, and the others were excited. Great, Lin Xian had returned. And his strength had become even stronger. Let's see if Dragon Palace still dares to be arrogant this time. Damn it, I haven't lost yet. I was careless just now. Long Ao roared crazily. It's just 2 moves. I'm only at a disadvantage. What right do you have to call me trash? I'll treat you seriously next. 3 moves, within 3 moves I'll destroy your soul. Are you sure you want to destroy me in 3 moves? If you want to fight to the death, I'll accompany you to the end. Lin Xian's eyes burst with an extremely cold light. The current him was no longer the him of the past. Although it was just a clone now, it was an emperor's ability. Even the clone had 70% of his strength. With this clone he could use all of Lin Xian's abilities. Other than a few powerful trump cards, there was nothing else. Everything else could be used. Therefore Long Ao was not his opponent at all. In front, the elder of the Thousand Dragon Dynasty frowned. She felt that something was wrong. The black-robed man in front of her was very strange. The several ultimate skills that he displayed, whether it was his movement technique or strength, were all ridiculously strong. It was very likely that he was a top expert, so she was worried for Long Ao. He said, "Stop, we're just sparring." "Stop." Lin Xian nodded. "That's right. You should be afraid that he will fall." He then looked at Long Ao and said, "Scram back. Your elders are afraid that you will fall, so they don't dare to let you fight." "What did you say?" Long Ao roared crazily. He was so angry that the other party was looking down on him again. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "To be honest, although you are a genius, that is only to ordinary people. In my eyes, you are really not a genius. What Dragon Prince, the second genius of the Dragon Palace, everything is just an illusion. You will always be trampled under the feet of the Dragon Prince, and you will never be my opponent. You are too far away from being a true young sovereign." "Damn it, do you want to die?" Long Ao was really angry. He punched over again. However, he couldn't find any trace of Lin Xian. Lin Xian appeared and disappeared like a ghost. He used Shadowless Heaven's net to perfection, as if he was a god. "Who do you think you are? Dragons? Gao Gao. Do you think your bloodline is strong? You are too naive. You are nothing among the dragons. I will let you know that your bloodline is not the strongest after the Emperor's son. Ruffian Long, come and show him what the true bloodline of dragons is." The dark red dragon walked out and roared. "After more than 10 years, this dragon can finally fight. Come dragon, let's fight. I will personally trample you under my feet." The dark red dragon's eyes burst out with a bright light. Previously, in the Divine Union, Lin Xian was dazzling and he didn't have many opportunities to fight. This caused many people to overlook him. However, Lin Xian knew that the dark red dragon's bloodline was extremely terrifying. This dragon prince was not weak at all. In fact, he was even stronger. Chapter 50-62. You? A little snake. Long Ao looked at the dark red divine dragon and sneered. "Alright, this little psychological warfare has no effect on me. We will know who the snake is after the battle." The dark red divine dragon's body flashed, turned into lightning, and struck forward. "Ant, I will let you know my power." Long Ao roared and punched out. Dragon Path Divine Fist. It was as if a giant dragon was sweeping between heaven and earth, intertwining with the laws. The void was like a painting being torn apart. The dark red divine dragon didn't even try to dodge. "Take my punch as well." He waved his dragon claws and punched out. The dragon blood martial move was extremely powerful. Clang. An earth-shattering sound rang out, and everyone's blood boiled. In the next moment, they saw 2 fists and retreated. They were evenly matched. Countless people exclaimed. It was too unbelievable. That was Long Ao, known as the Dragon Prince, the son of the Dragon Sea Lord. How powerful was his bloodline power, and he was a desolate ancient body. It could be said that other than the Dragon Prince, who among the younger generation of dragons could suppress him, even those who could contend against him were useless. But now there was someone who could withstand it. Wasn't this guy the dragon by Lin Xian's side? I always thought that he didn't have much ability, but I didn't expect him to be so powerful. Damn it, we were all deceived. He didn't make a move before, but who would have thought that his bloodline power was so terrifying? That Lin Wudi was really terrifying. Were there such experts around him? Now, do you still have the qualifications to call me a snake? The dark red divine dragon sneered. A terrifying multicolored light bloomed from his body. With a sweep of his tail he swept out. It turned into a heavenly blade and slashed out. The power of this sacred weapon was even stronger, and the 9 heavens were split open. Damn it! Long Ao was furious. Did he underestimate his opponent again? He absolutely couldn't bear it. This time, he would not lose again. The Dragon Path Divine Fist was used to the extreme, and it kept colliding with the dark red Divine Dragon's tail. Every strike made heaven and earth tremble. The surrounding people were shocked and quickly retreated. How many people would be able to withstand such a battle? The two of them exchanged 50 moves. The surrounding void kept on shattering as the terrifying dragon chi shrouded everything. Countless rumbling sounds rang out as tens of thousands of dragon silhouettes circled the area. Your Dragon Dao Divine Fist is completely useless. Take my heaven-splitting 10 strikes. The dark red divine dragon roared, and swung its dragon claws continuously. It attacked 10 times in a row, shattering the entire world. This was also one of the dragon's ultimate techniques. Long Ao was beaten back. Both of his arms were broken, and even his bones were exposed. Damn it! He raised his head and roared. He didn't expect that his Dragon Dao Divine Fist would be broken by his opponent. Dragon Traversal 9 rotations. He roared angrily, turned into a giant dragon and kept rolling. Every time he rolled, his strength increased by a bit. The laws of the body combined with the dragon's peerless Abhijna to attack the front. This time, the heaven-splitting 10 strikes was utterly shattered. I will not be defeated. Die. I will let you know what the true ancient desolate body is. It charged over like a dragon god. It was too terrifying. This should be the divine ability of a great emperor. Countless people were shocked. The power of the Dragon Dao 9 revolutions was unparalleled. Toad and the others were worried. Ruffian Long should be fine, right? Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. He didn't expect Long Ao to have also cultivated a great emperor's divine ability. It was indeed powerful, but fortunately, it seemed that the other party hadn't cultivated it to perfection. Moreover, he knew that the dark red divine dragon's trump card was definitely not weak. Although it didn't have a great emperor's divine ability, it had a bloodline inheritance. As expected, the dark red divine dragon floated in the air as its body continued to grow in size in the face of such an astonishing attack. It turned into a divine dragon that was 1,000 feet long. The scales on its back bloomed with dragon blood, and it soared into the air, forming a dragon saber in the air. Slash. With a roar, the 9 heavens and 10 earth shattered. The dragon saber slashed down, turning into the only thing in the world. At this moment, the people from the dragons were terrified. This saber was too terrifying. It was as if it could cut them in half. Damn it, which dragons did he belong to? The elders of the 10,000 Dragons dynasty went crazy. Why didn't they know about such a powerful dragons before? Heaven and earth shattered. The front was shrouded in chaos, and they could only wait nervously. In the end they saw a figure retreat. Long Ao was split in half, and he screamed as he fled. He retreated, his hair disheveled, and roared crazily. Damn ant, you dare to hurt me? Countless people gasped. Long Ao was actually injured, and he was even split in half. The people from the Dragon Palace also didn't dare to believe it. The dark red divine dragon walked out from the chaos, and a dragon saber floated above his head. He sneered. Don't you understand who's the ant now? You've lost. Lin Xian also walked out with a smile. It was a fierce battle, but unfortunately, you've lost again. Didn't you call yourself the #1 genius below the Imperial Prince? Weren't you invincible among the dragons? How many times have you lost now? More than 10 years ago, when you just came out, one of your clones was killed. Later, your true body was suppressed by someone, and you lost. More than 10 years later, you couldn't even block 2 of my moves. Now, you've lost to an expert who's also a dragon's. And he wasn't the Imperial Prince. You've lost too many times. What right does a person like you have to stand here? You're an ant, a piece of trash. You're destined to be trampled under others' feet for the rest of your life. Lin Xian said coldly. His voice carried a strange aura. This was also the great emperor's ability, demonic voice. At this moment, when he used it, It began to affect Long Ao in the dark. Long Ao was so angry that his entire body trembled. He kept retreating, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He roared towards the sky as if he was crazy. With a crack, there was a shattering sound between heaven and earth, and Long Ao fell down. The elder of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty roared crazily. Damn it, you dare to ruin his Dao heart. He slapped over. Lin Xian was already prepared. His figure flashed, and he instantly disappeared. Shadowless heaven's net. This elder couldn't hit him at all. How despicable. Didn't you say that you wouldn't attack me? Everyone in the world was watching. Damn it. The people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty gritted their teeth. That elder said. You've ruined his Dao heart. Can't I attack you? Lin Xian laughed. What a joke. Every single one of his attacks was a fatal killing move. If he was struck by one of them, his heart and soul would be destroyed. I only said 2 sentences. What does it have to do with me that his Dao heart was destroyed? That's because his Dao heart isn't firm enough. Otherwise, how could it be destroyed? What right does a person who doesn't even have a firm Dao heart have to walk the path of the great emperor? What right does he have to compete with the imperial prince? Lin Xian's words were sonorous, and the surrounding people were dumbfounded. They didn't expect that Long Ao would be defeated again. Moreover, it seemed that this time, he was completely trampled under his feet and couldn't make a comeback. Not only that, this was a ruthless slap to the Dragon Palace's face. This gathering had completely changed. Chapter 50-63. Long Ao's Dao heart had been destroyed, and he was no different from a cripple now. If he could not regain his confidence, his life would be over. For a top genius, this was worse than death. On the phone. Damn it, who are you? Who the hell are you? The elder of the 1,000 Dragon Empire roared. In the sky, the Dragon Prince also cast his gaze down. He was surprised that this person could defeat Long Ao. But did he want to challenge the Dragon Palace? He was the real founder of the Dragon Palace. At this moment, his eyes were filled with killing intent. This killing intent caused the surrounding geniuses to feel their scalps go numb. They knew that the Dragon Prince was angry. If the other party attacked, the black-robed man would not be able to withstand it. Who am I? Lin Xian smiled. Why? Does no one remember me anymore? He slowly took off his cloak, revealing his true face. Who is this person? Everyone looked over carefully. However, when they finished looking, they were stunned as though they were struck by lightning. Lan Ziyu also opened her eyes wide in disbelief. In the next moment she screamed in horror. Lin Xian, you are not dead. You are back? Some of the new geniuses were also shocked. Lin Xian, is he that Lin Wudi? Wasn't he a little too strong? Oh my god, it is really him. He is the legendary person who built the Divine Union single-handedly. Cries of surprise rang out one after another. At this moment, the entire world was in an uproar. It is him, it is really him. Bai Susu's eyes turned red. The dark red divine dragon, and the toad laughed. Even Yi Wudao's lips curled into a smile. He had guessed that it was Long Ao and now it was confirmed. Yes, it is me. Lin Xian looked around and said loudly, I'm back. Damn it, it is this guy. The people of the Dragon Palace gritted their teeth while the Blue Tribe looked even worse. They thought that Long Ao had not appeared for more than 10 years and had fallen. This made them very happy. However, they did not expect that Long Ao had not fallen, and had become even stronger. Long Ao spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted. If he had lost to someone else, he could have forgiven him. However, he had lost to Lin Xian. How could he tolerate this? However, if Long Ao were to know that this was merely a clone of Lin Xian, the other party would probably have the heart to die. Lin Xian's appearance could be said to have set off an endless storm. In an instant, the atmosphere of the entire gathering changed. It was as if this gathering was no longer to build momentum for the Dragon Prince, but to prepare for Lin Xian's return. Everyone was looking at Lin Xian. All kinds of legends and discussions about him were spreading. The people of the Dragon Palace. Humph. At this moment, a cold snort. The 9 heavens were shaking, everyone's bodies trembling. When they snapped back to reality, cold sweat poured down. They had forgotten the emperor was emperor. This was an emperor's son. Once he was enraged, who could stop him? The dragon prince said coldly in the sky. Kid, I didn't expect you to grow to this extent. It really surprised me. But you dare to ruin my gathering. You've got guts. Kneel on the ground and apologize. I will give you a quick death. Otherwise you will die without a doubt. The dragon prince's gaze seemed to have turned into a divine sword that pierced through the 9 heavens. Everyone was so scared that they kept retreating. Under this power, no one seemed to be able to resist it. The dark red divine dragon and the others were facing a great enemy. Even Yi Wudao clenched his fists. They did not care about Long Ao, but the dragon prince was different. He had the strongest bloodline in the world. That was the bloodline of a great emperor. Moreover, he cultivated an emperor's scripture. Such a person was the strongest enemy. Kneel down and accept death? You. Lin Xian raised his head and snorted coldly. Get down here. I don't like to raise my head and talk to others. Everyone gasped. This guy dared to challenge the emperor's son? Where did his courage come from? How dare he? The experts of the Dragon Palace were furious. Who do you think you are? How dare you challenge our dragon prince? Noisy. Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, several rays of demonic light flew out and instantly pierced through the roaring people. Screams rang out. Those people were nailed to death in the void. Everyone was horrified. These people were also experts of the Dragon Palace. They were top geniuses. But now they could not even block one move from Lin Xian. Lin Xian retracted his hand and said coldly, I am talking to the emperor's son. You are not qualified to challenge me. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian had grown to the point where he could compete with the emperor's son? Even Bai Susu and the others could not believe it. In their opinion, the emperor's son's opponent was only another emperor's son. He was above everyone else. No matter how strong they were, they only had one title. That was the strongest person under the emperor's son. For example, Long Ao used this title before. But no one dared to challenge the emperor's son. No one dared to make a move on the emperor's son. Lin Xian wanted to be the first challenger? You want to challenge me? I'm afraid you are not qualified. The dragon prince's voice was cold. In his eyes, everyone under the emperor's son was an ant. Even if the other party defeated Long Ao, he was still not qualified. Lin Xian smiled. So what if he was the emperor's son? No one who became a great emperor in the past was the emperor's son. They were all experts who walked out from countless dust. No matter how strong you are only an emperor's son. As for me, I am in existence who will become a great emperor in the future. It is your honor that I challenge you. Lin Xian stepped into the air and walked towards the 9 heavens. This guy's belief was really too strong. The surrounding people were shocked. They kept retreating and became excited at the same time. They could finally see a top expert challenging the emperor's son. They wondered how many moves this Lin Wudi could take. In the past 10 years he had disappeared. He must have gone out to train. They wondered if he had gained anything. If he broke through to become the great sage, he might be able to compete with the emperor's son. But it was a pity that his cultivation seemed to be a little weaker than the dragon prince. The people from the dragon palace snorted coldly. He couldn't even block a finger of the dragon prince. Just wait, he will definitely die in one move. What qualifications do you have to stand side by side with me? Get down. Seeing Lin Xian walking forward, the dragon prince snorted coldly. He stomped his foot, and the endless void shattered into pieces. A terrifying force charged towards Lin Xian. Boom. Lin Xian punched out. The 6 paths fist shone brightly and pressed forward. Boom. The two collided, and an endless black hole appeared. Flames danced in the air. Lin Xian blocked the kick like a dragon emerging from the sea. Then he stood in the 9 heavens, shoulder to shoulder with the dragon prince. Heavens, he actually blocked it. Countless people were in an uproar. Even the people from the dragon palace couldn't believe it. Chapter 50-64. Am I qualified now? Lin Xian looked at the dragon prince with a smile on his face. The dragon prince's face was terrifyingly dark. The other party was actually able to block his attack. It was unbelievable. One had to know how terrifying his bloodline was. Even a great sage cultivator would be crushed into pieces by this move. But the other party blocked it. I actually underestimated you. Your talent is indeed super strong. If there were no Thearchs, not many people would be able to compete with you. But unfortunately, I have appeared, so you will definitely be trampled under my feet. The Dragon Prince's eyes shone with confidence again. So what if the other party blocked it? That was just a casual attack. Next, he would let the other party know what despair was. Dragon Path Divine Fist. The Dragon Prince punched out. Such a terrifying technique was in his hands. When Long Aozi used it previously, it was 10 times stronger. The terrifying light broke through the sky. So strong. Countless people looked up at the sky with fear. Lin Xian snorted coldly and used the Six-Path Fist again. The two collided again as if two worlds were colliding. After that attack, Lin Xian laughed. Is this the strength of the Tharch? It's just SOSO. Just SOSO. The Dragon Prince's pupils constricted when he heard this. The other party actually dared to underestimate him. The first transformation of the Dragon Path 9 transformations. Another attack was thrown out, and there was a giant dragon in the sky. The power of this attack was even more terrifying than the Dragon Path Divine Fist. Countless people exclaimed, "It's the Thearch's divine ability. This power is much stronger than Long Ao's. This Lin Xian is dead meat. That's for sure. No matter how strong he is, how can he block this attack? Brother Lin, let me see how you block it." Below Yu Wudao's eyes shone. Sword technique? Divine body? Or some other divine ability? In the face of this attack, Lin Xian also felt threatened. He took a deep breath and didn't dare to be careless. Then he slapped out with his palm. His right hand was as black as ink, turning into a huge seal that slapped forward. The demonic god seal was also a Thearch's divine ability. Boom. The two of them clashed again. The void shattered and chaos filled the air. It was as if the heavens and earth were being split apart. Was Lin Wudi dead? They looked ahead, but soon they were terrified. Lin Xian did not die. Instead, he managed to block the previous palm strike. This was too inconceivable. He was actually able to block the divine ability of a great emperor. Where did this guy come from? What had he been through all these years? The people of the Dragon Palace went crazy. Even the Dragon Prince's face darkened again. How strong was he? Other than Kuan Pengzi, no one could make him serious. As for the others, they were all killed in one move. But now, he had already executed the Martial Monarch Realm divine ability to deal with an ant, yet he still could not do anything to the other party. Dragon traversing 9 transformations, second transformation. The two giant dragons rolled and charged forward. Its power increased exponentially. Lin Xian still used the Devil God Seal to contend against it, but the power of the seal was even more terrifying. Did he block the second attack as well? Everyone was shocked. If the first strike was due to luck, then the second strike was due to luck. It could no longer be explained by luck. This Lin Xian really had the strength to compete with the Tharch Realm divine ability. The Dragon Prince attacked again. This time it was 3 dragon figures. The Devil God Seal emitted an intense light, and an extremely terrifying talisman appeared as if it was going to suppress heaven and earth. After one attack, the 3 dragon figures were suppressed between heaven and earth. They roared at the sky, but they could not escape. Lin Xian laughed out loud. "Dragon Prince, you're just you still want to be crowned king? Ridiculous." He did it. Did he really do it? Bai Susu was shocked. The dark red divine dragon also couldn't believe it. Heavens, what exactly did this kid use? Yi Wudao's eyes emitted an extremely terrifying light as he stared at the black seal. I feel a fresh aura in front of it. Could it be the Tharch Realm divine ability? He gasped. He did not expect Brother Lin to also cultivate the Tharch Realm divine ability. No wonder he could compete with the Tharch Realm divine ability. The Dragon Prince did not attack. His eyes emitted light as he said coldly, "I didn't expect you to also know the Tharch Realm divine ability. That was really out of my expectations." What? Lin Xian actually used the Tharch Realm divine ability. Heavens, he actually knows the Tharch Realm divine ability. Could it be that he's also in Tharch Realm divine ability? Impossible, he doesn't have that kind of bloodline power. Could it be that he found the Varch realm divine ability in some ruins outside? He's too lucky. Exclamations sounded one after another. At this moment, everyone's eyes were red. They could only be envious that the Dragon Prince had the Varch realm divine ability, because he was in the Varch realm divine ability. However, Lin Xian was the same as them. He was not in the Varch realm divine ability, nor was he in the Varch realm divine ability. But now Lin Xian also had the Varch realm divine ability. They were about to go crazy. Even some of the older generation powerhouses' eyes were burning with passion. If there was a chance, they would attack regardless of everything. Have I been discovered? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. But soon he snorted coldly. So what? This time he did not plan to hide anymore. If he was discovered, so be it. Kid, do you think you can compete with me just because you know the Varch realm divine ability? You're too naive. The inheritance of an ancient Varch is not as simple as you think. Next, I'll show you the real deal. Beside him, there were a few more figures of dragons rolling about. It was obvious that the Dragon Prince was going to use an even more terrifying ultimate technique. Lin Xian's eyes emitted light. Suddenly he was stunned and sighed. It seems that my time is up. Time is up? What does that mean? Everyone was puzzled. Soon, they realized that the black seal in the sky was slowly disappearing. The three giant dragons soared into the sky and roared. Not only that, Lin Xian's figure also became dim as if he would disappear at any time. What's going on? Is Lin Wudi injured? Is he going to die? Exclamations sounded one after another. The dark red divine dragon, and the others were also nervous. Yi Wudao's eyes emitted a sharp light. In the next moment he seemed to have discovered something and exclaimed, "No, he's not dead. It's a clone. His clone has exhausted all its power, and is about to disappear." What? This is a clone? Everyone was stunned. An existence that suppressed Long Ao in 2 moves, and could now use the Varch realm divine ability to fight against the Dragon Prince. You're telling me that this is just a clone? They could not accept it. Then where is Lin Xian's real body? How powerful is Lin Xian's real body? Could it be that he's already on par with the Varch realm divine ability? Everyone felt like they were dreaming. Can someone really be so heaven-defying? Damn it. The Dragon Prince was also angry. He felt like he had been slapped in the face. The one who fought against me is just a clone. Is he looking down on me? He threw out a palm and enveloped the clone. Chapter 50-65. It doesn't matter if you're a clone or your real body, you'll still be destroyed by me. Lin Wudi, one day, I'll let you know what despair is. The Dragon Prince retracted his palm and looked around. He said coldly, "In a month, I'll be crowned as the Crown King in the True Path sect. By then, I'll be the ruler of the world." After saying that, he waved his sleeve and turned to leave. The gathering had been completely ruined by Lin Xian. He was too ashamed to stay any longer. The people of the Dragon Palace also sent the guests off. The surrounding people all left. They were shocked. They quickly spread the news, especially those from the 3 great orthodoxies and the clans of the ancients. Lin Xian's return caused a huge commotion. He was too powerful. What? You're saying that Lin Xian is back? Moreover, he could compete with the Dragon Prince. Stop joking. Who does he think he is? How could he compete with the Emperor's son? Some experts and saints shook their heads when they heard that. However, they realized that the news was spreading like wildfire. Many people had seen it with their own eyes. This included the 5 great swordsmen of the Heaven sect, Yi Wudao, and the Overlord of the Earth sect. These people would not lie. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Has Lin Xian become so powerful? He was too heaven-defying. He was really a young great emperor. It's more than that, you know? The one who competed with the Dragon Prince was only Lin Xian's clone. This news caused countless people to go crazy. A clone competed with the Emperor's son. Oh heavens, oh earth, what kind of scene was this? Everyone felt that it was so unreal. A young supreme being. Lin Xian already had the strength of an Emperor's son. He was above everything. It was said that he had also cultivated the great Emperor's divine power. Who could suppress him in the future? Discussions could be heard one after another. At this moment, The people from the three great orthodoxies were shocked. The clans of the ancients and the great sects were terrified, especially those who had a grudge against Lin Xian. They were facing a great enemy. Now they could only place their hopes on the Dragon Prince. He hoped that the Dragon Prince would be able to kill him. When Tianzong heard the news, he was also shocked. Kunpengzi's eyes flashed. Lin Xian? Another opponent had appeared out of nowhere. Previously, he didn't pay any attention to it at all. As far as he was concerned, his strongest opponent was only the Dragon Prince. In addition to that, there were a few other threats, such as Leaf Daodinier, Ancient Wind, and the others. These people cultivated the inheritances of the great emperors. In the future, they might be able to fight against them. But as for Lin Xian, he didn't care at all. But now? The speed at which the other party grew had far exceeded his imagination. A young supreme being? Interesting, this is really a golden age. But I am not afraid of anything. Kunpengzi stood up, and the yin and yang qi flowed around him. He was like a god, abnormally mysterious. The people of Dragon Palace gnashed their teeth. The 10,000 Dragon Court had also gathered countless experts and elders. Someone said, "Who would have thought that he was such a scourge? I'll go and kill him." A terrifying great sage walked out, releasing a biting cold killing intent. However, one of the patriarchs shook his head. No matter how strong he was, he definitely wasn't the Dragon Prince's match. Keep him alive. When the Dragon Prince was crowned, they would use him as a sacrifice. Great. The eyes of the people from the 10,000 Dragon Court lit up. In a month, the Dragon Prince would be crowned king. At that time, the Dragon Prince would kill Lin Xian in front of the entire world. That would shock the world, and let everyone know who was the ruler of the world. There was only a month left. They had to prepare well, and invite the experts of the world. This time, their coronation had to surpass Kunpengzi's. The people from the 10,000 Dragon Court moved quickly. On the other side, in the core region of the Taoist sect, when the elders found out, they were all stunned. They had actually misjudged him. They didn't expect the Taoist sect to have such a hidden dragon. But they were hesitant. If it was before, they would have been happy, because this Lin Xian also had the right to be crowned king. However, it was different now. The Dragon Prince was about to be crowned. The Dragon Prince and Lin Xian were rivals. Could the Taoist sect support two people? They could only choose one. Some of the elders sighed. They seemed to have thought of something. Previously, before Lin Xian, there had also been someone who had displayed the talent of a young paragon. That was Long Guang, a powerhouse of the dragons. He had once fought with the Dragon Prince, but had unexpectedly fallen. Although there was no evidence, these elders knew that it was very likely the 10,000 Dragon Court had done it. The 10,000 Dragon Court didn't allow anyone to threaten the Dragon Prince. Would Lin Xian be the second Long Guang? What would happen to him? These elders didn't know, but they weren't optimistic. On the other hand, the Divine Union was very excited. On this day, all the members of the Divine Union gathered in a hall. They were all extremely excited as they looked ahead. Boss Lin had returned and could even fight with the Dragon Prince. What kind of scene was this? Previously, they had been suppressed by the Dragon Palace and had been unable to raise their heads. Many people had even been seriously injured, and some had even fallen. They had thought that the Divine Union was finished. They hadn't expected that things would turn around and Lin Xian would return. The Divine Union was finally going to rise again. Ahead, the dark red dragon and the others were also waiting. Before long, a demon-like figure appeared in the distance. Was it another clone? The dark red dragon asked. That figure was Lin Xian's clone. He nodded. I'm trying my best to break through the sacred Gulf Tower and reach the peak within a month. Therefore, my main body can't come out. The dark red dragon and the others gasped when they heard this. Reaching the peak within a month. Wouldn't that mean he would be crowned as a monarch? Was the Divine Union also going to have a monarch with one crown? That was great. This way, they wouldn't have to fear the Dragon Palace anymore. So what if it was the Dragon Prince? They also had a monarch with one crown on their side. With his clone overseeing the Divine Union, Lin Xian also started to make arrangements. He said loudly, "Everyone, I know that you have been suppressed and attacked previously. We will get our revenge. Cheers rang out one after another. The Divine Union members were roaring. They all saw hope. Lin Xian waved his hand again and smiled. Come, let me introduce a new friend to everyone. With a wave of his hand, a vortex appeared. Senior Soul, come out. The people who walked out were the Soul Sage, Soul Cliff, and the other soul-killing sages. After they came out, they stood in the void and a terrifying murderous aura spread in all directions. The surrounding Divine Union geniuses narrowed their eyes. They felt a biting cold murderous intent engulf them. It seemed like it could easily tear their bodies apart. Chapter 5066. What a terrifying murderous aura. Could they be assassins? Bai Susu frowned. Lin Xian smiled. That's right, they were assassins. They were extremely terrifying killing sages. They appeared and disappeared mysteriously, killing without leaving a trace. These are my life and death friends that I met when I was training outside. We will be a family in the future. Next, it was time for the party to cheer. Everyone was excited to meet again after more than 10 years. Hence, the party lasted for 6 days. Everyone was still unsatisfied. However, the dark red divine dragon and the rest knew that there was something more important waiting for them. On this day, everyone gathered again. Lin Xian asked about what had happened in the past 10 years. Soon he frowned. Are you saying that Lan Ziyu was the one who led the suppression of the Divine Union all these years? Lin Xian's face was cold. This woman had attacked them more than once. Previously, she relied on the geniuses of the Blue Tribe. Later on, when the geniuses of the Blue Tribe were destroyed, she relied on Long Ao. She used the power of the Dragon Palace to suppress them. It seemed like there was no need for her to exist. She would be the first target. Lin Xian said coldly. Since Lan Ziyu was the main culprit, he would not let her go no matter what. Let's go and take revenge. Lin Xian waved his hand and walked forward. At this moment, more terrifying news came. The Dragon Prince had successfully reached the top. At this moment, a terrifying bell sound came from the Holy Gulf Tower, reverberating in all directions. Countless people in the Holy Gulf ancient city looked into the distance. Had someone reached the top again? The Dragon Prince had done it. He had been crowned as the King of the Crown. Exclamations were heard one after another. The people of the Dragon Palace laughed. This was great. The families and sects under the Dragon Prince were also ecstatic. From now on, they would soar to the sky. Tianzong frowned. Kuanpingzi's eyes flickered. Had he finally reached the top? Now he was qualified to fight with them. When the time came, they would have to test his strength. A black and white aura appeared in his eyes. When Lin Xian and the rest heard the news, they were equally solemn. Reaching the top represented a pinnacle of strength. Bai Susu and the others turned to look at Lin Xian. Was he still going to make a move? After all, the Blue Clan was under the Dragon Emperor's command. Attack. Lin Xian remained unmoved. His main body had already swept through the sacred Abyss Tower. With the strength of his main body, it was only a matter of time before he reached the peak. Therefore, he was not afraid of the Dragon Prince. They walked towards the Dragon Palace, but learned that Lan Ziyu had already left. The toad said. She didn't return to the Dragon Palace at all. Ever since Long Ao's Dao heart was shattered, she seemed to have left with her family. This woman is really scheming, the dark red dragon snorted. Now that Long Ao was crippled, Lan Ziyu didn't even dare to return to the Dragon Palace without any backing. It seems that she knows we should look for her again. Bai Susu also harumphed coldly. Unfortunately, she won't be able to escape. We've been keeping tabs on her for a long time now, and we know the 3 places she frequents. Let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand and led his men out. Moonlight Lake. This place was like a paradise on earth. It was a place that Lan Ziyu often visited. At this moment, there were still guards from the Dragon Palace guarding this place. Suddenly, their pupils constricted because they saw a group of people appear in front of them. Who is it? Stop, go back. This is not a place where you can come. The people from the Dragon Palace shouted coldly. However, what greeted them was a slap. A black palm blotted out the sky and covered the earth, smashing them into a bloody mist. Damn it, who is it? He's too strong. The guards were horrified. There was also a great sage, whose face was filled with despair. To be able to kill him in one move, he was definitely not an ordinary person. The terrifying demonic aura reminded him of someone who had just returned. You're Lin Xian. He was horrified. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. That's right, it's me. Where's Lan Ziyu? You're looking for Fairy Lan? She's not here. The great sage was horrified. Lin Wudi, don't go too far. Don't you know that our dragon prince has already reached the peak? So what? Lin Xian was unmoved. He tore the other party's soul into pieces with a slap. Then he said, go in and find her. The people from the Divine Union moved out one after another. A huge battle ensued. Some of the guards inside were also roaring. They wanted to send out a distress signal. Lin Xian's hand covered the entire area. Not a single message could be sent out. The dark red divine dragon and the rest attacked. This time the people from the Soul sect also came. Hunya led them and appeared and disappeared mysteriously. In the end, everyone in the Bright Moon Lake died. The entire Bright Moon Lake was dyed red with blood. Is she here? Lin Xian asked. Those people searched once and shattered the ground, turning it into an abyss. They said, no, she's not here. Then they went to another place. Then the second and third places all received devastating attacks. However, there was still no sign of Lan Ziyu. Where did he go? Bai Susu said. He should have returned to the Blue Tribe. I know about their branch's manor domain. The Blue Tribe? Let's go. The group set off again. So what if they were from the clan of the Ancients? They still dared to attack aggressively. Blue Feather Manor. The manor that was named after Lan Ziyu was a newly built territory. The people who lived there were from Lan Ziyu's lineage. At the moment, many experts were gathered in the Blue Feather Manor. An old man stood with his hands behind his back. He was Lan Ziyu's grandfather. Beside him was Lan Ziyu's father, and the other experts of the Blue Tribe. Someone said, this is great. Although Long Ao's Dao heart was shattered, the Dragon Prince finally succeeded in reaching the top. The Blue Tribe will also become stronger in the future and surpass the other clan of the Ancients. That Lin Wudi is nothing to be afraid of, Lan Ziyu's grandfather said with a smile. I've already received a piece of news. The Dragon Prince will personally kill Lin Wudi during the Kinkenfurl ceremony to intimidate everyone. Therefore Lin Wudi will definitely die. Ha 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 ha. They all burst into laughter. At that moment, an earth-shattering voice rang out. A ray of swordlight pierced through the 9 heavens like a thunderclap and split the entire area. Their great hall also began to shake violently. Who is it? How dare they come to the Blue Manor and behave atrociously? These experts walked out one after another. They saw the sky split open in front of them, and a group of people walked over. The one at the front was a man in a black robe. Lin Wudi, it's you. How dare you come here? Lan Ziyu's father roared. You're courting death. Attack! At his command, countless arrays appeared around him, as well as countless blue race powerhouses. The arrays flickered. Terrifying thunder, terrifying flames, and torrential seawater rushed over in an overwhelming manner, trying to swallow Lin Xian. Lin Xian roared and waved his hand. Terrifying sword chi slashed in all directions, shattering the entire area. Chapter 50-67. The people from the Blue Clan were stunned. These arrays had been carefully set up by them, and were terrifying. Even a group of great sage might not be able to break them. But now, they had been shattered by Lin Xian with a few simple swords. How terrifying was this guy's strength? Lan Ziyu's father's face turned ugly. They knew that the other party was strong, but they had not seen it with their own eyes. Therefore, they all felt that the rumors were exaggerated, and that there were a lot of exaggerations. But now that they saw this scene, they changed their minds. They had probably underestimated the other party. Father. The young man looked at the old man behind him. The old man's face was cold as he walked out. He was Lan Ziyu's grandfather. Young man, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Kneel down now and break your own arms. I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, I'll let you know what it means to wish you were dead. A piercingly cold voice rang out. The surrounding void could not withstand this power, and began to crack open. Lin Xian laughed. Hand over Lanziyu, and I'll let you die a quick death. Otherwise, I'll let you know what it means to be reincarnated. You're courting death. Stubborn. Elder Lan was completely enraged. He waved his palm. Everywhere it passed, the world was sealed in ice. It was as if a world of ice had descended. The void around Lin Xian turned into an ice cage. The strength of this attack shocked the people from the Divine Union. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He had not expected this elder to be an expert who had surpassed the great sage. However, Lin Xian was not afraid. The other party was not a great sage. Therefore he sneered. You want to trap me with your insignificant skills? Sword Qi appeared in his hand and slashed in all directions. The piercingly cold sword light shattered all the ice in the surroundings. The monstrous sword shadow seemed to shatter everything. An earth-shattering sound rang out. The surrounding ice shattered into pieces. Elder Lan's pupils shrank. He kept retreating. One of his arms was cut open and blood was staining it. Elder! Countless people exclaimed. That person's pupils shrank as well. Father, are you okay? They were all scared silly. The young man in front of them was so powerful that even their elder was no match for him? Lin Xian sneered. You dare to go against me with your strength? Hand over Lanziyu. Young man, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. You dare to hurt me. I'll let you know what despair is. The old man threw away the walking stick in his hand. A blue talisman appeared between his eyebrows and spread throughout his body. Father! When he saw this scene, the young man exclaimed in surprise. Could it be that the young man was going to use that ultimate technique? He wanted to say something, but Elder Lan's. After recuperating for so many years, some people must have already forgotten my name. It was a secret technique that could seal a part of one's cultivation to prolong one's life. Once it was used, it would restore one's peak combat strength. However, the loss of life would intensify. It seemed like the old man was serious. So what if he was serious? Toad snorted. Let's see his expression of despair later. In front of them, it was freezing cold. Elder Blue's aura was much stronger than before. He was like the god of ice. An ice sword appeared in his hand. With a wave of his hand, the world was frozen. Young man, how do you want to die? I'll fulfill your wish. The ice sword pointed forward and an ice dragon condensed. Wherever he passed, nothing could escape. Was he hiding his strength? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He didn't expect Lan Ziyu's grandfather to be an expert. It was a pity that the other party had met him. The demonic aura on his body condensed and formed a demonic sword. Lin Xian walked forward. You want to fight with me? Do you know what a sword technique is? As he spoke, a biting cold sword aura slashed forward. Terrifying demonic light filled the 9 heavens. The ice dragon shattered instantly. You have some strength. Watch my sword of blue spirit. The ice sword swayed. The terrifying sword light turned into an illusion and shrouded the front. Retreat quickly. The people of the Blue Clan retreated quickly. They were nervous and expectant. The Nian snorted. His father had used all his strength. The other party definitely couldn't resist. There was still a huge gap between a top genius and a peerless powerhouse. The sword light that filled the sky cracked. The icy aura froze everything. A black figure was also sealed in ice. When Elder Blue saw this, his lips curled up. It was over. He walked forward. The people of the Blue Clan laughed. It was over so quickly. Could this guy still fight against the Dragon Prince? What a joke. Elder Blue's sword cleaved the black figure into 2 halves. However, his pupils constricted. There was no blood. Was it an afterimage? He abruptly turned his head, only to discover that a demonic sword was slashing toward his glabella. In a panic, he formed a seal and blocked the sword with a blue ice divine shield. He was sent flying and spat out a mouthful of blood. The blue shield was also split into 2 halves. Elder Blue's face turned ugly, and the man behind him was terrified. That was a divine artifact. Was it split in half? How terrifying was the power of this sword? If his father didn't have a trump card, the sword would have avoided his father's head. I've said it before. You're courting death if you want to fight with me. Lin Xian had used Shadowless Heaven's net, and easily dodged the sword. The first strike of the Shura sword was blocked by the other party's divine artifact. However, he didn't care. He wanted to see how many strikes the other party could block. How dare you destroy my divine artifact? You've completely angered me. Elderlon snorted. He waved his hand and took out another divine artifact. It was a weapon that looked like a teapot. It was exquisite and had countless talismans of law surrounding it. It was the blue smoke pot. At this moment, under his control, countless blue mist floated out from within. Like ribbons, it circled the area in front of him. On the surface, there was a gloomy and cold energy. The people of the Blue Clan laughed when they saw this. They knew that the blue smoke pot was a terrifying treasure. Once entangled by the blue mist, there was no way to escape. Let's see how the kid will die this time. The blue mist surrounded Lin Xian. It seemed to even entangle Lin Xian's sword light. Seeing this scene, Elder Blue laughed loudly. Little Zay, although you're strong, you're too young. You're no match for me in terms of foundation. I only need to take out a few divine artifacts to make you despair. Now that you're entangled by my blue smoke pot, let's see how you can escape. Chapter 5068. Lin Xian frowned when he sensed the terrifying aura. He had to admit that the other party's saint artifact was indeed extraordinary. Elder Blue snorted when he saw Lin Xian resisting. Kid, it's useless. No matter how strong you are, you can't block it. To be honest, you're indeed a top-notch genius. You don't have the bloodline of an emperor, but you have the talent and strength of Emperor Kansas. No matter which era you were in, you could reach the peak and even become a great emperor. But it's a pity that you appeared in this era. There are many emperors in this era. Moreover, you're too arrogant. You actually dared to offend an elder like me. Therefore, I'll send you on your way. A dead genius is nothing. A smile appeared on Su Chen's face. A dead genius? You're too arrogant. Who do you think you are? Also, let me tell you, the one you're fighting now is just a clone of mine. What? Clone? Elder Blue's pupils constricted when he heard this. He didn't dare to believe it. Was his clone already so powerful? Damn it, this made him feel a strong sense of crisis. Even if he killed his opponent's clone, so what? Damn it. I don't believe you. Don't try to lie to me. Kid, do you think I can't see through your plan? You want to distract me so that you can escape? What a joke. Elder Blue was unmoved. He continued to activate the mist smoke pot. Tens of thousands of wisps of smoke filled the air, trying to pull Lin Xian inside. Go to hell. The blue smoke pot contained a strong power that could turn the opponent into a pool of blood. Ignorant. You're already old. Let me show you the power of the heart. Lin Xian released a terrifying demonic aura. It was as if he had transformed into a demon lord. However, he was still sucked in. Lin Xian's figure disappeared into the blue smoke pot. Elder Blue laughed. Clone? Genius? You'll be a pool of blood after you enter. Great. Elder Blue is mighty. When the blue race saw this, they all raised their heads to the sky and laughed. The dark red divine dragon frowned. That saint artifact was extremely extraordinary. They wondered how Lin Xian was doing. Although they were nervous, they were not worried. This was because it was indeed just a clone. However, if the doppelganger was destroyed, then their operation this time would have failed. Wong. Boom. At this moment, a deep sound rang out between heaven and earth, followed by a violent roar. Everyone looked over, and the faces of the Blue Clan members turned ugly. Elder Blue's expression became even more solemn. He realized that the sound was coming from the blue smoke pot in his hand. At this moment, the mist smoke pot was shaking violently, and the radiance on the surface of the fan had become dim. Clearly, the people inside were making a move. Damn it, how is this possible? Refine it for me. Elder Blue roared crazily and unleashed countless laws. However, the blue smoke pot was becoming dimmer and dimmer. It looked like it could shatter at any moment. Damn it. Elder Blue didn't dare to be careless anymore. He quickly opened the blue smoke pot. A figure flew out from inside. It was Lin Xian. At this moment, his body was surrounded by demonic qi, so he was unharmed. Do you think a mere saint artifact can do anything to me? Lin Xian stood in the 9 heavens with a mocking expression. Damn brat, Elder Blue had long lost his previous calmness. Lin Xian shook his head. Everything was over. Even if it's just a clone, it's not something you can resist. Lin Xian condensed a black seal in his hand. Damn brat, how dare you look down on me? Fine, I'll let you die under my ultimate technique. Elder Blue put away the blue smoke pot. His palms kept forming seals, and the laws of his bloodline erupted. Behind him, the phantom of a frost wolf formed. As soon as the frost wolf appeared, it roared towards the sky. It was as if an ancient divine beast had been resurrected. It let out a terrifying roar. The surrounding people's blood was boiling. Brat, can you block this move? If you can't, go to hell. Elder Blue waved his hand, and the frost wolf behind him rushed out. A pair of sharp claws fell from the sky. This was a law divine beast that he had condensed with his bloodline. Its strength was terrifying. It was even more terrifying than the blue smoke pot from before. Under this attack, the other party would definitely be torn to pieces. Looking at the phantom of the frost wolf and the terrifying storm in the sky, Lin Xian shook his head. Is this your strongest attack? It's really disappointing. He waved his hand, and the black demon god seal fell down. Useless brat, you can't resist at all. Elder Blue sneered. However, soon his smile froze because he found that the phantom of his bloodline had stopped in mid-air. It was suppressed by a black seal. Damn it, what is that black seal? Elder Blue was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe it. Could it be a terrifying sacred artifact? Damn it, this brat really has a trump card. Just as he was thinking, the demon god seal fell. The bloodline god wolf let out a blood-curdling scream as it was torn into pieces. Elder Blue also vomited blood and kept retreating. His face was pale. Even his bloodline ability was broken. He was seriously injured. What made him even more frightened was that the black seal was directly above his head, and would fall at any time. Damn it, how dare you? Let go of our elder. The people of the Blue clan in the distance roared crazily. Elder Blue also shouted angrily. Do you dare to kill me? The Blue clan is an ancient clan. I'm just an elder. The Blue clan has countless experts. If you kill me, you will be hunted down crazily. You have to think carefully. Are these your last words? Then go to hell. In the face of such a threat, Lin Xian was unmoved. The demon god seal fell and blasted Elder Blue into a bloody mist. With a wave of his hand, a storage ring flew out. There were several sacred artifacts such as the blue smoke furnace in it. Lin Xian put it away. Elder. The people of the Blue clan knelt on the ground. The man's face was also filled with despair, and his body was trembling. In the distant sky, 2 figures streaked across. These 2 were extremely terrifying. The flames on their bodies were even more terrifying. There were dragons circling around them. They were the 2 elders of the Fire Dragon clan. One of them said, "The Dragon Prince has ascended to the peak of the Sacred Abyss Tower. It won't be long before he is crowned. We have to hurry over to congratulate him." The other person shook his head and sighed. What a pity. Because of the Fire Dragon Lady, we stood on Lin Xian's side. I'm afraid we have already offended the Dragon Prince. This time, no matter what price they had to pay, they had to beg for the Dragon Prince's forgiveness. The 2 of them were worried about the future of the Fire Dragons. Suddenly, the 2 of them were stunned. There was a huge battle ahead. And it was the terrifying battle of the Great Sage. Who was it? The 2 of them hurried over to take a look. When they arrived, they realized that it was the Blue clan's manor. Who dared to attack the Blue clan? They knew that the Blue clan was now the favorite of the Dragon Palace. They were an existence that everyone looked up to and envied. But now someone dared to attack them? They looked down, and in the next moment, they saw an old man vomiting blood as he was sent flying. That was Lan Ziyu's grandfather. Lan Ziyu's status in the Dragon Palace was extraordinary. Chapter 5069. Who was it that did it? The 2 elders of the Fire Dragons were so scared that their scalps went numb. They looked carefully. In the next moment, they saw a demon-like figure appear from below. On the phone. A young man. Who is he? It's him, Lin Xian Lin Wudi. He was the one who did it. Is this guy so powerful? It seemed that all the rumors about him were true. At this moment, the figures of the two elders flashed as they left the place swiftly. That was because they discovered that the figure below was looking up at the sky. They dodged and went up to the sky. One of them asked, "What should we do? Will he come after us?" Someone else said, "We just saw it by accident. Let's go back to the fire dragons. Aren't we going to see the dragon prince? We'll talk about it when we get back." This guy doesn't seem to be afraid of the dragon prince. The fire dragons wanted to rely on the dragon prince, but they hesitated when they saw Lin Xian take action. The two elders left and returned to their families. Below, Lin Xian looked up at the sky and narrowed his eyes. Just now he had sensed two obscure yet powerful auras flashing past. The power of fire and the aura of dragons. Fire dragons? He retracted his gaze and ignored them. These two were probably just passing by. Lin Xian turned around and looked back. There were many Blue Clan warriors kneeling on the ground. Lan Ziyu's father, the middle-aged man, was also there. When the middle-aged man felt Lin Xian's gaze, he was so scared that he started shivering. He gritted his teeth and said, "We were wrong. We apologize to you, young Master Lin. Please let us go. I think young Master Lin doesn't want to be hunted down by the Blue Clan. Moreover, the Blue Clan is now under the Dragon Prince." He lowered his head and admitted his mistake. At the same time he revealed his identity. As long as one was smart, they would not continue to attack them. Once Lin Xian left, they would mobilize their families and the power of the dragons to fight back. Lan Ziyu's father swore that he would catch Lin Xian and make him suffer. The Dragon Prince. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Others might be afraid of him, but not me. Hand over Lan Ziyu. Young Master Lin, I've said everything I wanted to say. Do you really want to have a falling out with the blue race? Who do you think you are to be my enemy? Lin Xian sneered and sent the man flying with a slap. Half of that person's face was shattered. He roared, "Damn it, I'll fight it out with you." He wanted to make a move, but he was instantly suppressed. Lin Xian crushed his opponent's body with a single step. He snorted coldly and said, "You don't have the qualifications to fight me. Since you won't tell me where Lan Ziyu is, I'll do it myself." The surrounding people also wanted to escape, but they were all beaten back by the dark red divine dragon and the others. He fell to the ground in despair. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palms as a terrifying light flickered in his eyes. A pair of heavenly god's eyes appeared in the sky and looked down. The light of reincarnation. You will feel despair for the next 10,000 years. Lin Xian used a powerful eye technique. The people of the blue race screamed miserably as their souls were tortured endlessly. Once again, Lin Xian began to search the soul of that person. Then, a cold smile appeared on his face. Not here, but at the headquarters of the blue race. But do you think you can escape? Lin Xian didn't continue searching. He had the demon summoning scripture which contained countless Abhijna laws. One of them was specifically for revenge. The demon summoning scripture was created by the demon emperor. Demons didn't care about anything. Naturally, their methods were strange. Yin Xian waved his hand and grabbed the soul of that person. The man screamed crazily. "Damn it, what are you doing?" Lin Xian snorted coldly. "Use your soul to find your daughter's whereabouts." He formed a few demonic runes with his palm and imprinted them in the air. The soul of that person wanted to escape, but it was instantly frozen and quickly burned. Lin Xian waved his hand again and formed a black talisman to merge with the soul. The next moment his demonic body condensed into a demonic bow. He pulled the bow and flew into the sky with the soul talisman. The Nian was Lan Ziyu's father. With the bloodline inheritance, Yin Xian could instantly lock Lan Ziyu's position with his soul bloodline. As for the arrow just now, it carried an extremely strong killing aura. Lan Ziyu couldn't escape. The headquarters of the blue race was also jubilant. They were preparing to attend the coronation ceremony of the Dragon Prince. At that time, they would be in the limelight. Inside a palace, Lan Ziyu sat there with some young geniuses around her. They were all geniuses of the blue race. At this moment, they were all around Lan Ziyu, treating her as their leader. Lan Ziyu's current status wasn't ordinary, but she frowned. Although the Dragon Prince succeeded, Long Ao was crippled. Her status wouldn't be good in the future. Damn it, it's all that Lin Wudi's fault. Thinking of this, she gritted her teeth. She would find a chance to kill him. Suddenly, she raised her head. She felt uneasy, as if something was about to happen. She stood up. The surrounding geniuses of the blue race said, Sister Ziyu, I'll help you with anything. Yes, tell us if there's anything. The geniuses smiled. They were trying to please her. Lan Ziyu didn't say anything. She stared at the sky. The next moment, she saw a black dot descending quickly. The surrounding geniuses also felt it and looked up. What was that? A demon beast? But soon the black dot arrived in front of them. At the same time, it carried a strong murderous aura. The geniuses were instantly sent flying. Their bodies were shattered. Oh no, it was an attack. Lan Ziyu's pupils contracted. Her scalp went numb. She immediately retreated. With her current strength, she was a top expert in the Dragon Palace. So the geniuses around her were much stronger. But no matter how strong she was, could she be stronger than Lin Xian? This was of arch-theurgy. She couldn't dodge it at all. Just as she moved, the arrow pierced through her forehead, piercing her soul. A soul flame enveloped her. The next moment, her eyes widened. She fell to the ground. She couldn't accept it. She didn't even know who killed her. Oh no, Ziyu's soul jade tablet shattered. Someone exclaimed. The people of the blue race were stunned. How could it be? Ziyu was in our headquarters. Who could come here to kill her? What a joke. However, some people frowned. Let's go and take a look. They walked toward Lan Ziyu's residence. When they opened the palace door, they were dumbfounded. The surrounding geniuses' bodies were shattered. They fell into the sea of blood. Lan Ziyu's forehead was pierced by a black arrow. The aura of her soul had already disappeared. The elders of the blue race instantly checked. The next moment, their faces turned pale. Chapter 50-70. The leader of the Blue Clan was also alarmed. After she rushed over, she saw this scene and her face turned pale. He roared like a mad lion. Damn it, what's going on? Who did it? The surrounding people lowered their heads in fear and didn't dare to speak. They were also terrified. They were the Far Ancient Clan, a clan of the ancients. They were powerful, but none of them noticed that an enemy had sneaked in. This was too terrifying. Was the enemy a top saint killer? They thought of several organizations. Hell, the mortal world? Or the heavenly court? A powerful elder furrowed his brows. No, it shouldn't be the saint killer. Look, that arrow obviously fell from the sky. Someone killed Ziyu thousands of miles away. Hearing this, the others were even more terrified. Who had such a heaven-defying method? One had to know that Lan Ziyu himself was a top-notch genius. His strength was even more terrifying than some great sages. The leader of the Blue Clan shouted angrily. Investigate this thoroughly. Find out who did it. He was about to go crazy with anger. Lan Ziyu was very important. Now that he was dead, how could she explain it to the dragons? More importantly, the arrow in front of him carried a monstrous demonic qi, which reminded him of a person. Previously, the legend of Lin Xian's return mentioned that Lin Xian's demonic qi was monstrous, like a demon god. Now the arrow also had the same aura. Could it be that Lin Wudi did it? Damn it, he dared to do such a thing on the eve of the Dragon Prince's coronation? He was too arrogant. The people of the Blue Clan went out to investigate. News of what had happened here had spread. Lan Ziyu's identity wasn't ordinary. He was Long Ao's cultivation partner. He had a very high status in the Dragon Palace. He was also a genius in the Dao, a top genius of a clan of the ancients. Such an identity attracted the attention of countless people. So Lan Ziyu's disappearance was investigated by countless people. Soon, they found that Lan Ziyu was dead, and died in a very strange way. There were only arrows. If it wasn't the enemy, who could it be? The news spread so widely that the entire ancient city knew. Have you heard? Lan Ziyu is dead. I know. It's said that he was killed by a sword from thousands of miles away. Who is this? His methods were too heaven-defying. This was not only a slap to the blue race's face, but also a challenge to the Dragon Palace. Who else could it be? It was said that the arrow had a monstrous demonic aura. It was probably done by Lin Wudi. Voices rang out one after another. Everyone felt that it was Lin Wudi's doing. Even the people of the blue race thought so. However, they didn't dare to make a move. As long as Lin Wudi hid in the Dao sect, they would not be able to do anything. With the talent that Lin Wudi had displayed, no one in the Dao would be allowed to make a move against him. More importantly, it had been less than half a month since the Dragon Prince had been crowned. Before such a flourishing age, nothing could be allowed to happen. Now they could only hope that the Dragon Prince would personally kill the other party when he was crowned king. The other clans and sects were frightened. They quickly warned their disciples not to provoke Lin Wudi. Right now Lin Xian was a demon king. The legend of Lin Xian spread through the ancient city once again. At the mention of this name, everyone turned pale and their eyes were filled with respect. When the people of the Divine Union heard the news, they roared with laughter. Ha 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 ha. This was great. Lan Ziyu, who had been suppressing them previously, was now dead. Boss Lin was mighty. Let's see if the blue race still dared to be arrogant. The people of the Divine Union were very happy. On the other hand, the people of the Dragon Palace were gritting their teeth in anger. This was a slap to their faces. However, they still didn't make a move. This was because the Thousand Dragon Court had sent news that they were to focus on preparing for the king conferring ceremony. The people outside were still waiting for the Dragon Palace to retaliate. However, after a few days, there was still no news from the Dragon Palace. This made the people even more shocked. It seemed like even the Dragon Palace couldn't do anything to Lin Wudi. When the Dragon Prince heard this news, he snorted. The geniuses of the blue race were no different from ants in his eyes. If they were killed, so be it. As for Lin Wudi, he would deal with him personally. Furthermore, it wouldn't take long. It would only take a few more days. On the 96th level of the Sacred Source Tower, Lin Xian's main body stood there with a solemn expression. When he had returned to the Holy Abyss ancient city, his main body had immediately come here to break through. Now he had fought his way to the 96th level. It had to be said that it was extremely difficult to reach the 90th level and above. It was no wonder that even someone as strong as the Dragon Prince had taken such a long time to reach the peak. However, even though it was difficult, Lin Xian wasn't afraid. Given his current strength and the ancient mystic powers he had mastered, it was enough for him to reach the peak. However, there was one thing he had to do. He had to rush before the coronation. Only then would he be able to fight it out with the Dragon Prince during the coronation. Were there still 3 more levels? Lin Xian took a deep breath. The last 3 levels were even more terrifying than the previous levels. Thinking about it, it shouldn't be much faster. Lin Xian felt his own aura. He didn't make a move immediately. Instead, he sat down cross-legged. It was time to break through. Lin Xian entered the Sword World. On this day, the Sword World was filled with tens of thousands of lightning bolts. Even the Hellfire Dragon was shocked. Did this guy break through? Or did he break through here? Oh heavens, his lightning tribulation was too terrifying. The Hellfire Dragon was shocked. This lightning tribulation was similar to the young Great Emperor. There were even human-shaped lightning bolts in the void for Lin Xian to attack. After a huge battle, Lin Xian was covered in wounds. However, he still succeeded in passing the tribulation. The aura on his body exploded once again. He had reached the peak of the Saint King realm. One more step and he would be the great sage. After breaking through, Lin Xian's strength had become even stronger than before. This way, he would have a higher chance of winning against the Dragon Prince. Lin Xian came to the bottom of the sky-reaching ancient tree. He sat cross-legged on the spring of life. The strong vitality restored his body. Soon he was back to his peak. Then he left the Sword World and continued to challenge the last 3 levels. Finally, the Holy Abyss ancient city became more and more lively. Countless families and sects gathered from all over the world. They all had one goal, which was to participate in the king conferring ceremony. The coronation of the Dragon Prince and the crowning of a crowned king attracted attention from all sides. At this moment, the Dao sect was also unusually solemn. There were still 2 more days before the most important moment. On the Divine Union's side, the dark red Divine Dragon was also paying close attention. More and more people had arrived. Even the experts from Taiching Ancient City had come. Bai Susu looked into the distance. There was a pagoda that stood tall in the 9 heavens. She sighed. How was that guy's progress? Would he be able to come out at the last moment? This was a moment of life and death for the Divine Union. Bai Susu's father was a core elder. He had already sent news that the Divine Union was in danger. Chapter 50-71. The day had finally arrived. It was time for the Dragon Prince's coronation. The sky had just brightened when the entire True Path sect was bustling with noise and excitement. Countless people rushed over. The True Path sect's elders and geniuses went out to welcome the guests. Congratulatory voices could be heard one after another. Everyone was looking forward to it. These people were familiar with the coronation ceremony because they had seen it once before. That was the coronation of Kun Pengzi. Not much time had passed between the two. It was only about 20 years. Kun Pengzi naturally came as well. He stood there with his hands behind his back. Around him were the elders and experts of the True Path sect. At this moment, he looked up and narrowed his eyes. The other people discussed spiritedly. Do you think these two imperial princes will come to fight? It was hard to say. If they were to fight, it would probably be after today. After all, the Dragon Prince was going to be crowned king today. Discussions broke out one after another. Soon, the people from the Dragon Palace arrived as well. They raised their heads proudly. After arriving, they received countless tributes. Most of them were from the clans and sects under their control. The people from the 1,000 Dragon Court arrived. The core elders of the True Path sect also appeared. Even the divine generals of the Sacred Abyss Tower arrived. They would be hosting the coronation ceremony together. The Dragon Prince had also arrived. He was like a dragon god looking down on everyone. His arrival caused countless people to exclaim. Some young geniuses were envious. Leaf Daudenier and Ancient Wind were both feeling the pressure. The other party's bloodline talent was stronger than theirs. Now that he was crowned king before them, they would be under a lot of pressure if they wanted to catch up. Kun Pengzi's eyes shone brightly. The Dragon Prince also turned his head and stared at the other party. The corners of his mouth curled up. Don't worry, you and I will fight after today. When the time comes, we will decide who is better. As you wish. Kun Pengzi's voice was sonorous. Next, the Dragon Prince accepted the coronation ceremony. A crown appeared in the Sacred Abyss Divine General's hand. Everyone was looking forward to it. As long as the crown was placed on the Dragon Prince's head, he would be crowned king in the future. In the crowd, the people of the Divine Union gritted their teeth when they saw this. Damn it! The dark red Divine Dragon, and the others were also anxious. That kid wasn't here yet? The people from the Dragon Palace sneered. From now on, the Dragon Prince would be revered. Lin Wudi was dead. Today he must die. A series of cold harumphs could be heard. The Dragon Prince put on the crown and became the crown king. He stood in front and looked around. He accepted the worship and congratulations of the people around him. The surrounding clan of the ancients and the great sects all looked envious. A son should be like a dragon prince. If such a person could appear in their clan, then they would have no worries for the next 10,000 years. The Dragon King, who was wearing a crown, shouted coldly. Where was Lin Xian? Didn't he always want to challenge my Dragon Palace? Come out and fight. His words caused an uproar. Heavens, the other party was really going to attack Lin Xian. Exclamations could be heard one after another. The members of the Divine Union had ugly expressions on their faces. The people of Dragon Palace sneered. Wasn't he arrogant before? Aren't you looking down on Dragon Palace? Why don't you dare to come out now? Coward trash. Ants. Someone like him dared to call himself invincible? Someone even snorted. Lin Xian didn't come out, but the people of the Divine Union seemed to be here. Attacking them was the same. Countless pairs of eyes stared at the dark red Divine Dragon and the others. The surrounding people dispersed and an empty space appeared. The dark red Divine Dragon, Bai Susu, and the other members of the Divine Union had ugly expressions on their faces. Damn it, the other party was indeed attacking them. In front, a core elder of the Tao sect looked over and said coldly, "Susu, come over. You'd better not have anything to do with the divine union." Bai Susu was the daughter of an elder, so she naturally had to be taken away. Bai Susu's face turned ugly when she heard this. This meant that the True Path sect had given up on Lin Xian and chosen the Dragon Prince. Bai Susu's father, Elder Bai, stepped forward and said, "It's not good to start a fight in such a grand event. I think the dragons won't start a fight, given their tolerance." "Elder Bai, you'd better not interfere in this matter," the powerhouse of the 10,000 Dragon Court said coldly. The Dragon Prince sneered. "Are you qualified to interfere in my matters?" Elder Bai's face turned cold as well. However, he didn't say anything else. He was only a core elder and couldn't go against the entire dragons. "All right, people of the Divine Union, kneel down and accept your death. We'll let the world know the consequences of challenging the Dragon Prince." The powerhouses of the dragons stood up and stood tall in the sky. Around them, the Blue Tribe shouted. The aristocratic families also sneered and walked over. The other sects and families looked on coldly. Who would dare to stop the Dragon Prince? It could only be said that the people of the Divine Union didn't know their limits. The geniuses of the Divine Union also came from different sects and families. Many of them stepped forward. For example, the Nalan family, the Duga family, and even the Fire Dragon family stepped forward. "Why? Do you want to be exterminated? In that case, I'll fulfill your wishes." Long Huangzi stepped forward, and the people around him felt their scalps go numb. At this moment, Elder Bai also stepped forward. Chapter 5072. Another member of the dragons? Countless people looked at this scene in shock. The people from the Dragon Palace also frowned. An elder from the 10,000 Dragon Court snorted. "The dragons of the Black Sea? So you're from the Black Sea dragons." The surrounding people suddenly understood. There were many dragons, such as the 10,000 Dragon Court. Other than that, there were also fire dragons, flying dragons, and so on. Long Ao was from the Dragon Sea. Other than that, there were other dragons that were very powerful. They were the dragons of the Black Sea. They didn't expect that the dark red dragon beside Lin Xian was from the dragons of the Black Sea. The experts of the Black Sea dragons came nearby. They brought with them a powerful dragon aura. Angry shouts could be heard. 10,000 Dragon Court, if you want to fight, we'll fight you to the end." "Just you?" The Dragon Prince snorted. It seemed that there was no need for the dragons of the Black Sea to exist. His voice was filled with a terrifying killing intent. Everyone's pupils constricted. The people of the Black Sea dragons snorted. "You can say that when you become a true emperor. You're not qualified now. Is that so?" Long Huangzi took a step forward. The power in his body erupted and swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Everyone felt their bodies shake, as if they were about to split open. It was too terrifying. They couldn't imagine what kind of cultivation level the Dragon Prince had reached. Following the Dragon Prince's actions, the 10,000 Dragon Court, the Dragon Sea race, and the Blue race, as well as the surrounding sects, they all walked over. They emitted terrifying killing intent. A great battle was about to break out. The dark red divine dragon and the others had solemn expressions. Although they had also brought along many powerful clans, although they had many powerful families, they would be at a disadvantage if they really fought. At this critical moment, the void shattered. An iron rod appeared in the air and charged toward the Dragon Prince. With a boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Endless cracks appeared in the void. The dragons around the Dragon Prince spat out blood and flew backward. A few of them instantly turned into a bloody mist. Everyone was dumbfounded. Who dared to attack the Dragon Prince? The Dragon Prince was furious. Did they want to die? He roared angrily and punched out. With a loud bang, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The next moment, the Dragon Prince's heart sank. He could feel that the attack was powerful and contained boundless power. It made his fists feel numb. He faced the sky and roared. 10,000 dragon phantoms appeared around him, shattering heaven and earth. Only then did he manage to block the attack. The surrounding people all retreated frantically. They were shocked. Who was it? Why was the Dragon Prince so angry? Could it be that he was an extremely terrifying veteran expert? In their opinion, there was no one in the younger generation who could compete with the Dragon Prince, unless it was an expert from the older generation. The people from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty roared furiously. No matter which family he was from, he was going to die. You and your family and sect don't even think about living. How arrogant. You actually dare to threaten me? Eat old son's rod. A cold shout was heard as the iron cudgel swept out again. The elder of the dragons was sent flying. That elder spat out blood and screamed miserably. He did everything he could to resist, but half of his body was still shattered, turning into a bloody mist. How powerful. Even the elders of the dragons are no match for him? Who exactly are you? Even the elders of the Tao sect walked out. They stood in the void. The divine generals of the sacred Abyss Tower were also on guard. Now that the Dragon Prince was crowned, he was under their protection. A figure appeared in the void. Everyone looked carefully. It was a monkey. Everyone was stunned. A monkey holding an iron cudgel stood between heaven and earth with auspicious clouds dancing under his feet. What was even more shocking was that the other party's vitality was very vigorous. It seemed that he wasn't an elder at all. He was a young expert. Was he another top young genius? Everyone felt that they were going crazy. There was someone in the younger generation who could compete with the Dragon Prince. What was going on? They were all dumbfounded. Kunpingzi's eyes burst out with a terrifying black and white light. The Dragon Prince couldn't believe it. His face was pale. In the next moment he walked out and said loudly, "Tell me who you are, or don't blame me for being rude." Sun Qitian laughed. "Rude? You? To be honest, old son, don't put you in my eyes. Show me what you have." If Lin Xian was here, he would definitely recognize that this was Sun Qitian, whom he had rescued from the underworld. The Dragon Prince's face was cold. Someone dared to challenge him at the moment of his coronation. He couldn't stand it. What made him even angrier was that the other party attacked before he even made a move. An iron cudgel swept in all directions. The Dragon Prince was furious. Dragon Dao Divine Fist. With a punch, various divine dragon phantoms appeared and blocked the terrifying iron cudgel. The collision between the two was earth-shattering. Then a great battle broke out. They charged towards the clouds. The void in the 9 heavens shattered. All kinds of laws condensed, and the sky was torn into nothingness. It was too terrifying. They were evenly matched. This monkey could really compete with the Dragon Prince. Countless terrified voices sounded. The people of the Dragon Palace couldn't believe it. Kunpingzi's face was cold. The people beside him asked, "What's going on?" Kunpingzi gritted his teeth and said, "Can't you feel it? He has a super strong bloodline that seems to be able to cut through heaven and earth. I'm guessing that he is also a Tharch. Or maybe he has inherited some kind of Thearcha's legacy and cultivated it since he was young." Kunpingzi could only think of 2 kinds of people who could have such a bloodline aura. However, no matter which one it was, they were both peerless enemies. One of them was the son of a Tharch, and the other was the disciple of a Tharch. They couldn't be underestimated. The people on the Divine Union's side were also stunned. Originally, they had been facing a formidable enemy. They had been expecting to face the wrath of the Dragon Prince. However, they hadn't expected such a turn of events. A monkey with amazing strength fought with the Dragon Prince directly. They all heaved a sigh of relief. Bai Susu also said, "That's great. We have won some time." However, Hunya had a strange expression. He glanced at his father, the Hun Xingjun. He asked, "Father, is that him?" The Hun Xingjun took a deep breath and nodded. "It shouldn't be wrong. It's him. I didn't expect him to come here. Was it a coincidence?" The toad exclaimed, "No way. You know him? Do you know his background?" The other people of the Divine Union also looked over. The Hun Xingjun said, "I have never heard of this monkey. I know his background, but do you know him?" "We don't know him. Young Master Lin knows him." "What? Lin Xian knows this monkey?" Bai Susu and the others were even more stunned. The Hun Xingjun said a few simple words, and everyone understood. It turned out that this monkey had been suppressed in the 18 levels of hell, and had been saved by Lin Xian. They had even become brothers. That's great. The dark red divine dragon and the others laughed. With such an expert here, they could contend with the dragon prince. Chapter 50-73. Hey, brother monkey, we're Lin Wudi's brothers and friends. The dark red divine dragon shouted from below. The toad shouted too. Brother monkey, the guy you're fighting is our enemy. He wants to kill Lin Wudi. You have to take revenge for us. The surrounding people were stunned when they heard this. These two guys are too naive. Do they think they can get close to him by calling him brother monkey? What a joke. The people from Dragon Palace sneered. They felt that the dark red divine dragon and the toad were too stupid. However, at this moment, a voice came from the 9 heavens. Is that so? You guys know my brother Lin Wudi? Then we're brothers too. Sun Qitian looked at the dragon prince in front of him, and his face darkened. How dare you lay your hands on my brother? Take my rod. Boom. This blow shattered the heavens and the earth. The ground below was also shaking nonstop. If this wasn't Primeval City, this blow would have turned the city into ashes. The dragon prince was pushed back and his face changed. He roared and executed the Dragon Traversal 9 revolution, charging over aggressively. Damn. What's going on? This monkey really knows Lin Wudi. Moreover, they're brothers. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. The people from Dragon Palace were so angry that they vomited blood. It can't be so coincidental, right? How can he know any expert? Lin Wudi? Damn it. Had the people from the Divine Union specially invited him over? Kuanpingzi and the rest were also surprised. How many cards does this Lin Wudi have? Another shocking blow came from the sky. The dragon prince's face turned ugly. Monkey, you've completely angered me. A long spear appeared in his hand. It was a dragon spear. It was extremely terrifying and was held by him. Thousands of dragons were roaring and the dragon prince's bloodline was erupting. It seemed like an earth-shattering battle was about to happen. Everyone looked up in excitement. Sun Qitian snorted and his iron rod shook the sky. He sneered. Do you think I'm afraid of you? The surface of his iron rod was covered in rust. However, mysterious runes appeared one after another, bursting with dazzling light. A great battle was about to break out. However, at this moment, the sound of a bell came from afar, sweeping in all directions. Everyone in St. Origin City heard it. What happened? Everyone looked into the distance with shock on their faces. Sun Qitian and the Dragon Prince also stopped. The surrounding experts who were watching the coronation also took a deep breath. The Divine General of the Sacred Abyss Tower exclaimed. It was the sound of the Sacred Origin Tower's bell. Someone had reached the peak. What? Countless people were shocked. They were not unfamiliar with this voice. Previously, when the Dragon Prince had reached the peak of the Sacred Abyss Tower, he had made such a sound. Now it was being spread out again. Heavens, who was it? In such a short time, other than the Dragon Prince, someone else had reached the peak. Who exactly was it? The faces of the people of Dragon Palace darkened. The elders of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty gritted their teeth. Damn, what was going on? Today was the day of their prince's coronation, and they had thought that they would be able to shake the world. However, this was completely out of their expectations. First, a monkey jumped out and fought with their prince to a standstill. Now there was news that someone had reached the peak of the Sacred Abyss Tower. This completely attracted everyone's attention, and no one paid attention to the Dragon Prince anymore. Damn it, someone was ruining their good fortune. No matter who it was, they would never let this person go. Sacred Abyss Tower. At this moment, the people inside were also shocked. This was the sound of someone reaching the peak. Someone had reached the peak. Who was it? Countless people went to the hall on the first floor to look for the ranking. The divine generals were also alarmed. One by one, they soared into the air and began to investigate. At this moment, everyone in the hall was looking at the Sacred Origin ranking in front of them. They were searching. Kuanpingzi and the Dragon Prince had reached the peak one after another. After them, a new name appeared. Mad God. It was him. It was Mad God. Heavens, wasn't he ranked in the top 1,000 a decade ago? Now he could reach the peak. This was too heaven-defying. What kind of person is this Mad God? I'm guessing that he's an emperor. A peerless expert. Where was Mad God? Exclamations came one after another. At the same time, the news spread in all directions. When the divine generals heard the news, all of them were dumbfounded. It was Mad God. Divine General Yunge and the others were shocked. Divine General Haiyuan also took a deep breath. They were no strangers to this person. They had even worked together before. However, in the past 10 years he had disappeared and never appeared again. They did not expect him to reach the peak now. It was too unbelievable. Find him. This time, they must find him. These divine generals moved out one after another. They would not let the other party escape. They had to find out who the other party was. Divine General Haiyuan and the others moved quickly. As for Lin Xian, at this moment, he felt the aura of a god. It pierced through heaven and earth. He was baptized. This aura made his life level rise again. Although Lin Xian wasn't an emperor's son, his bloodline and physique were truly extraordinary. He had far surpassed the great sage. Endless resources fell from the sky. This was his reward for reaching the peak. Lin Xian opened the sword world and took it all in. This was enough for him to create another Four-Spirit Valley. This reward was too generous. Lin Xian was overjoyed. At the same time, he proved that he was not weaker than the emperor. What the emperor could do, he could do too. He was crowned king. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a terrifying light. At this moment, the void fluctuated and several figures rushed over. Lin Xian looked over and was stunned. The people who rushed over were also stunned. They were none other than the divine generals of the Sacred Abyss Tower. These people wanted to find out the true identity of Mad God. When they arrived, they were stunned. It's you, Lin Xian. They were dumbfounded. They also knew this person. Why was he here? For a moment, their minds went blank. Soon they reacted. Could it be that he was Mad God? They were too shocked. They had thought that there were many possibilities for Mad God. He could even be a peerless genius of another emperor race. However, they had never thought that Mad God was Lin Xian. This was too shocking. In an instant they understood a lot. No wonder Mad God had helped Lin Xian many times. It turned out that the two were the same person. Seniors, long time no see. Lin Xian cupped his fists and smiled. Young Master Lin, you're really good. You've been hiding it from us for a long time. Divine General Haiyuan also smiled and greeted him. At the same time, the news spread out. In the Dao sect, where the coronation was held, countless people were waiting anxiously. They had already sent people to investigate which expert had reached the peak of the Sacred Abyss Tower. At this moment, news came back. Reporting to the Patriarch, we've found out. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.